Hi, Judy. This is Alex Handress. We met yesterday in the cafeteria when you reached over my shoulder to get the custard, and right away I kind of thought we were made for each other. In fact, I thought about you all night, and I'd love to go on the hayride with you this weekend. I'm sure we'd have a terrific time. What do you say? Huh? Can you tell her I called, Mrs. Walters? Thank you. Bye. Great. Oh, God.
Gee, Barbara, I'm going to tell you, if we're going to do a big wedding, let's do it.
Mom, doing it doesn't mean going totally overboard. We can do it by just serving lamb. We don't have to serve Cornish hen, too.
Oh, hello. Hi, Alex. Honey, really, trust me. I know what I'm doing.
Where have you been? It's almost 7:30. I'm starving.
Dinner. I don't know what I'm doing. Alex, I'm sorry. We've been running all day, and then we've just been at the caterers.
Caterers? Ms. R., you didn't have to do that. A submarine sandwich and an orange soda would have just been fine.
Would you believe the wedding caterers?
Is that still on? I'm only kidding. How's it coming?
Well, the way I figure it, with 8 more weeks till the wedding, we should rack up enough debts to qualify for foreign aid.
Barbara, when did you get to be such a worrier? Come on, lighten up, relax.
Mom, at $17.50 a plate times 150 people in the crystal room, how can you relax?
$17.50?
A plate?
Great. The bridal consultant to the rescue.
$17.50 a plate. I'm telling you, they saw you two ladies coming.
Honey, come on, I told you, there's nothing to worry about. You know your dad's kicking in.
Mr. Romano, I just got a flash. Let's hold little Barbara's wedding down at the lodge.
Oh, Schneider, little Barbara appreciates the offer.
I celebrated his 20th wedding anniversary in our Mickey Spillane room. I mean, $3.50 a head. He got soup and juice. He got cold cuts and a lovely Jell-O mold. In the shape of Dolly Parton.
Thanks,
Didn't
Schneider.
last 2 minutes.
Schneider, everything is already planned. I mean, next stop is the florist, the printers, the band.
The poorhouse.
Barbara, for once in my life, I would like to do something without cutting corners. And besides, Julie married Max in a park in between a baseball diamond and a horseshoe pit. This time, I really want to do it right.
Yeah, but, Mom, just because Julie and Max...
Hey, look, can we not worry about the wedding just for tonight? Okay? Deal?
Deal.
Thank you.
Hi, sweetheart.
Sorry I'm late.
Hi, handsome.
Hi.
You're just in time to change the subject. So, how was your day?
Oh, like always, I washed my truck, I went to school, I won a trip or 2 to Las Vegas. Oh, I ate lunch at this new hamburger joint.
What?
Yeah, I had about the best chili burger I've ever had.
No, I heard trip to Vegas.
Oh, that? Yeah, I won a trip or 2 to Las Vegas this weekend.
What kind of a hamburger joint?
Mark, are you kidding around?
He's not kidding. And we're the two? Oh, my...
That is great. How did you win?
Well, the American Dental Association is holding a convention for new techniques, so the top student in our class goes to Vegas to take notes.
Well, top student in the class. That's terrific. I am proud of you.
I finished 3rd. See, there's this bad flu bug going around, but I'm first among the survivors.
What's the weather like in Vegas? What do I take?
Just a minute there, miss. What do I take? What do I take, indeed? All right, I think your mother has some advice for you, Barbara. Go ahead, Miss Romano. You've been in charge.
I take a couple of sweaters. I hear it gets really chilly there at night.
You see, nobody's trying to be... It gets chilly at night. That's all you're going to tell her?
No, there's more.
Huh.
Have a nice trip.
Yes. Listen, Romano. Do you have any idea what red velour wallpaper does to Midwestern glands? Have you ever seen those rooms in Vegas, the paintings? I mean, nothing but nubile women feeding skinless grapes to supine men.
Schneider, we're staying in separate rooms.
I don't care if you're in separate hotels. When it comes to naked grapes, it doesn't make any difference. All right, now, I mean, you're in Las Vegas. Things can happen. Why do you think there's desert all around that place?
I don't know why.
Because nobody ever leaves their rooms to water anything.
Schneider, please, we're not children.
That's exactly my point. You're not. All right. Made my case. I mean, there's only so far that you can take the superintendent-apartment dweller relationship. Besides, at this moment, I think your mother has reconsidered her position, and she is about to make an important pronouncement, Miss Romano.
Yes, Schneider, thank you. Thank you very much. Barbara, darling, would you bring me back a bunch of those skinless grapes? And a couple of supine men?
Here we are, sir. Pretty nice room, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, your lady friend next door, she, gonna be a dentist, too?
Well, next best thing. She's engaged to one.
Hey, that's nice. I hope you two don't bump into him.
Hello? Well, hello. How are you? Long time no see. When did you get into town?
Oh, about an hour ago. Are you traveling alone?
No, can you believe it? I'm stuck here with my fiancée.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
'Cause I really wanted to see you. Sure you can't slip away for just a little while?
I can't. She watches me like a hawk.
Too bad, because I really wanted to see you. I mean, really. Oh, boy, am I embarrassed. How are you?
Absolutely fascinated.
Thank you.
Oh, hey. Thank you.
Sure.
If you folks need room service, you just dial 8. Or 2 4s. Thanks. Oh. Welcome to Las Vegas. Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, what a hick. 10 minutes in the hotel and already the staff knows there's a hick on the loose.
Are you kidding? They just put it up on the marquee. See, Don Rickles and Lola Falana, and in the lounge, Barbara the Hick.
What's that for?
Well, Don Rickles wasn't available.
Hello? Oh. Hello? Oh, hi, Mom. Is everything all right?
Hi, Annie. Barbara's in my room, and we're on the bed fooling around.
No, Mom, I know you called my room, but see, the phone is in his room. Never mind. What's the problem? Mom. No, Mom, that's ridiculous. No, the crystal room will be big enough. We can just squeeze a few extra people at each table. Well, if you don't want my opinion, why did you call? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, Mom, okay, we'll talk about it later. Okay, fine. And try to calm down, will you, please? Thank you. Goodbye.
Hi, Barb. It's me, Wayne Newton. Like a shell, darling, like a shell.
Don't ever do that again!
Barb, it's just me.
I could have had a heart attack. How would that look if I had a heart attack in your room in my bathrobe?
Never mind the fancy footwork. Just tell me what you were doing in my hotel room. Searching for some compromising correspondence, huh? Rifling through my sock drawer? Talk, damn you! We have ways of making you talk.
All right. Would you buy that I was using your shower because it has a stronger spray?
I'll buy that. It's boring, but I'll buy it. Oh, Barb, tell me something exciting. You're looking at a guy who spent 3 hours taking notes on molars and bicuspids.
Exciting?
Yeah.
You want exciting?
Yeah.
Okay. I gambled for the first time in my entire life, and I won.
Great. How much?
Well, let's see. At one machine, I won $15. At another machine, I won $10. I came this close to winning the $500 jackpot. It was unbelievable.
Well, how much did you win overall?
Overall, I lost $12. But that's only because my shoulder started to hurt and I lost my touch.
Oh, that's called Vegas shoulder.
Oh, Mark, that feels great.
Yeah, it's just one of the fringe benefits of marrying a man who works with his hands.
Oh, that's perfect. Now the left side.
How's that?
Perfect. Now the right. Oh, that's even better. Now the left. Oh. Mark, we're never gonna last 7.5 weeks.
I'm not going to last the weekend.
Let's just, do something else. Talk. Why don't we talk, okay?
Great, fine.
Okay.
Fine.
So tell me, how was your seminar? Tell me something you learned.
Bondage. Bonding, yeah. Bonding is... It's the new alternative to capping teeth. You had enough?
No, really, go on. I want to know.
All right, but say when. You see, bonding costs less than capping because it's easier. There's no drilling or anesthetic, and you can do several teeth in one visit.
No kidding.
Yeah. And what you do is you put a thin coat of liquid plastic to seal the tooth, and then you apply this special paste in thin layers that match the tooth, and then you mold it to proper shape. Yeah, and then you expose each layer to about 20 seconds of ultraviolet light or visible light beams, causing a reaction that bonds. Barbara, do you know what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you certainly do. But Barbara, before this goes any further, honey, you always said how important it was to you to save this moment for your wedding night.
I know.
You sure you want to throw all that away just because we can't wait 7.5 weeks?
Look, maybe we're not supposed to wait 7.5 weeks. Maybe it's fate.
I'm warning you, I'm going to be very easy to convince.
Maybe it is fate. Fate that you're here with me. Fate that you won this trip. Fate that I was in there washing my hair when you came back from your seminar.
Does have a nice ring to it.
Mark, I've waited all my life for the right man and the right moment. They're both here.
Okay, that does it.
What are you doing?
I'm getting the cards.
Were you listening to what I just said?
You say you believe in fate? Let's put it to the test. We're in Las Vegas. Let's cut the cards.
I don't know anything about cards. What do you mean?
It's easy. You get the high card, it's fate. I get it, it's 7.5 weeks. Fair?
Okay, fair.
Any second thoughts?
I love you, but that was my first thought. Just tell me something. What are you hoping for?
There's no hoping. It's up to fate. Okay. A jack. Well, Barb, 7.5 weeks isn't that long.
Wait a second. Do I get a turn or not?
You better have the card to back up that look.
Queen.
A queen. That's a very good card, a queen.
Beats a jack, I think.
In most cases.
You're not going to welch, are you?
Royer never welches.
Oh, good. Now, where were we?
I don't know, but maybe it'll come back to me. You got a joker. Barbara, you didn't pick a queen, you picked a joker. Don't you know the difference?
I guess I just saw what I wanted to see.
But then again, some people play jokers are wild.
Hello? Hi, Mom.
Now we're talking fate.
Darling, here's the latest. Remember the first room we looked at downtown, you know, for the wedding reception downtown at the old Churchill Hotel?
The Skylark room, Mark?
Honey, I know you're out there in neon land, but try to stick with me on this, okay? Now, I think that the Skylark room is really the best one. I mean, it is a little older, but it has lots of charm, and I don't know, there's plenty of room. What do you think?
Fine.
That's all? Fine?
Well, Mom, does it really matter what I think?
Darling, it's getting a little dark on this thing, so why don't we talk now and pout later, okay?
Pout? I am not pouting. I just wish once in a while you'd listen to my opinion.
Honey, I'm listening. Now, my opinion is the crystal room will be a very tight squeeze and we should go with the other one before it's too late. What is your opinion?
My opinion is, let's book it.
I don't want to steamroll you, Barbara. If you don't agree, then tell me that you don't agree.
Mom, you're not steamrolling me, really. Anyway, you're closer to the problem. I'm out here in neon land.
Okay, so it's a Skylark room. Going, gone. See you later, darling. Have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there we go. Mom strikes again.
Well, I guess that takes the salt out of the shaker. Blackjack?
I'll meet you down there.
Paging Erica Palmer.
Draw to that,
Erica Palmer. Don Roberts.
Just touch me up,
Don
Freddie.
Roberts.
I'll settle for a 5. Does that look like a 5 to you?
That does not look like a 5.
Paging Terry Belafonte.
That is what a 5 looks like.
You guys know each other or something?
No. Thanks, Dad.
Oh, you bring me good luck, cutie.
Yeah, he is a little on the cute side, isn't he?
Hi, Barbara.
Oh, terrific. The wife is here.
Fiancé.
Congratulations, honey.
Yeah, all the best, sweetheart. We'll throw your bridal shower, but right now we're playing cards, okay?
Fun game.
It is when you win.
Mark, how much are those chips down there?
Well, these are $5 and these are 25.
Are you crazy?
Barbara, we're winning.
I don't care. We can't afford it. How much are we winning?
$450. How does that grab you?
$450 in front of you is $450?
I know.
She picks up fast, doesn't she?
I can't believe it. $450.
I'm afraid to leave this seat.
We can put it towards our honeymoon.
I'll tell you what, I'll chip in a couple of hundred myself if you go now.
Come on, hon, let's go, okay?
Okay, but not until I see you play one hand.
Oh, no, forget
Come
it. I
on,
can't-
one hand and we'll go. Besides, I have a theory. Beginners are always lucky.
Another pearl.
Here, honey, try this one on for size.
Oh, no, you don't. That seat is taken. I'm changing my luck.
Okay, one hand. What do I do?
Here, you're all set.
Okay.
Don't look now, sweetheart, but you're sitting in the Nevada Triangle.
What happened?
What happened, she asked?
You got blackjack. I told you you'd win.
My blackjack.
Is that all there is to it?
Yeah, silly game, isn't it?
Had enough?
No, let's just play one more hand. It's fun.
Did you hear that?
What?
Someone called your name.
Don't be silly.
Dr. Lennox. Dr. Lennox. Mr. Paul Anka. Mr. Paul Anka. Barbara Cooper. Barbara Cooper.
See?
Is this some sort of joke?
It's no joke. Someone's paging you.
The phone's over by the front desk, honey.
Thank
You
you.
want me to go with you?
No, that's okay. Just
Sure?
save my seat.
I don't know if you and Diamond Lil know this, pal, but there's gambling now in Atlantic City.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You don't like the people. You're losing constantly. You're miserable. So why don't you just pick up and move to another spot?
I can. This is my lucky table.
Paging Sherry Wander.
Hi, I've been playing for you. You won $95,000.
Who cares? Mark, I've had enough. Let's go.
What's wrong now?
Nothing. Everything's fine. It was just my mother.
Oh, well, sit down and play another hand. You're on a streak.
No, really, I don't want to play anymore. Can we just go, please?
Oh, what a shame. She's breaking up that old gang of mine.
Could you change these, please?
We settled on the Skylark room, right? Well, now she finds out if we take the room, we have to take the house band. She doesn't like the house band, so she canceled the room. Back to square one again. How do people survive these things?
Do you want a sip of my drink, honey?
Oh, no, thank you. I'm fine. No wonder the wedding announcements are on the same page as obituaries.
Honey, you are talking to a veteran. I have been to the post 6 times. And let me tell you, the best wedding I ever had was a no-frills special right here in this town. 10 minutes of I-dos and then right to the honeymoon.
We'll just cash these in and grab a bite
No,
to eat.
wait a second. I want to talk to,
Jill.
Jill. Jill, where was it that you said this place was?
Well, there's...
I hate to break this up, girls, but do you mind if I get a card?
Barbara, look, I was just doing some fast figuring, and I was... Oh, yes, darling, I know you're getting married. In Las Vegas. At 4:30 in the morning. At the Lucky 7 Wedding Chapel. Barbara! Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I really needed that. The Lucky 7 Wedding Chapel. That's funny. What a name. As a matter of fact, that is one of the funniest jokes I've ever heard. Yeah. You're serious? Barbara, then you are a childish, inconsiderate brat. Barbara, I would like you to get that infantile notion out of your head right this minute. Oh? Well, then, of course, you know that you can count me out. Yeah, and I have nothing further to say. Except, why are you doing this to me? You don't deserve this. I worked my fingers to the bone trying to make all of this come together. All I have succeeded in doing is banging my head against a wall.
I think one wall too many, Miss Romano.
Schneider, are you here for a reason, or do you just get your kicks skulking around, snooping on people?
You want to know my reason?
I would really like to know your reason.
You want to know my reason?
I would.
I'll tell you my reason.
Good.
To ask the advice of an old friend regarding the proper formal attire for said friend's upcoming matrimonial festivities to be held in a few short weeks. Now we're talking either the double-breasted mohair with the satin lapels or the single-breasted wool worsted with the brocade. Fine, I'll paint my fanny green and go naked.
Oh, isn't this just dandy? We make a decision that will save people a lot of time, money, and aggravation, and just because she doesn't agree with it, it's an infantile notion, and we can just count her out.
Oh, Barbara, calm down. Everything's gonna work out fine.
Oh, Mark, I have to throw this.
You're not a thrower, are you?
Just this once. Besides, how do you expect me to calm down? Well, that's one way.
Here's another.
That's the same way.
Why fool with success?
Mark, for the first time, I am making a decision without looking over my shoulder for my mother's approval.
How does it feel?
It feels terrific. It feels great. It feels good, I think.
If she thinks I'm going to hop a plane to Nevada to stand behind her with a dopey smile on my face while some black deck dealer performs a ceremony at 4:30 in the morning at the Lucky 7 Wedding Chapel, well, then she's wackier than I thought.
The Lucky 7 Wedding Chapel,
Yes,
Mr. Romano. They're putting you on, they're pulling your leg. I mean, they could just as soon call it the Church of St. Rock or the Pit Boys.
No, Schneider, it's true. You know what I can't believe? That Barbara is going to have a dumber wedding than Julie.
It's true? They really are going to get married at the 7-Eleven?
And just wait. Wait until her father hears, and her grandmother is in Hawaii, and Mark's father is in Alaska on business.
I mean, these two kids, you know, they're in love, and young kids, sometimes they do foolish things when they're in love, but at least they had the common sense to make it legal.
Schneider, who cares about legalities? Tell me, who cares? She got itchy and couldn't wait for 7.5 weeks. I mean, why didn't they just spend a few hours and scratch?
What's going on, Ms. R?
Well, Mark and Barbara, they're going to go ahead and get married in Las Vegas at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, that doesn't sound like Barbara.
I know, it's tough to figure, but I guess the closer you get to the event...
No, Schneider. I mean, Barbara hates to get up early. We're getting married in Las Vegas. That's great. Now you don't have to get so uptight about all those crazy wedding plans.
Alex, I was never uptight.
So when are we going?
You are not going anywhere. You have school on Monday, and I certainly am not going.
You're not going to go and see your own daughter get married?
At the Lucky 7 Wedding Chapel? No way.
Yeah, and could I have a bucket to chill the champagne in? Oh, it does. Oh, thanks for that.
Mark!
Yeah?
Mark, why didn't you wake me? I asked text you to wake me up.
What's wrong?
Oh, it's 4 o'clock. We have to get to the chapel at 4:30. Where's Julie and Max? I said they were going to...
Barbara, does the phrase Pacific Standard Time mean anything to you?
Okay, so I forgot to set my watch back.
Not nervous, are you?
Look, okay, so it's 1 o'clock here. It's 4 o'clock in Indianapolis. I was part right. What's on TV?
Barbara, you're trying to bluff your way past a dentist in training. Nervous people are my life.
Okay, so I'm a little apprehensive.
Come on, let's have it.
Why is it that I get the feeling this is either the greatest idea in the world or the craziest?
Honey, if you want, we can call the chapel right now and cancel.
No, Mark, we're just talking. I just want to know what you think.
I think I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Barbara, I'd marry you 30 feet underwater.
Coming, Mother.
Ah.
Hi.
You brought the champagne?
Gee. I haven't had a chance to get any yet.
Then why are you here?
Max.
Hi, Max. Where's my champagne?
I think there may be a problem here. Are you Mark?
I'm Mark. You're Max.
Right. Horvath. Julie's husband, Max? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Oh, it's the uniform. It threw me.
Yeah.
Airline uniform. Oh, I was expecting champagne.
Maybe next time. We just met.
I told you, Max. One more pull and I'd hit the jackpot.
You certainly did.
Oh, yeah. Mark.
Julie.
Max.
Hi.
So, you're the guy who's gonna marry my kid's sister, huh?
Yeah.
You're different than I expected.
Thanks.
No, really, it's a compliment. You should have seen some of the weirdos Barbara used to date. One year we called them the Dirty Dozen.
Julie, those were your dates. Where's Barbara?
Oh, she's on the phone in the other room. Oh, wait till she sees you guys. She's gonna go crazy.
Sis,
Hey,
hi.
Julie, Max, hi. How was your flight?
Great flight. Boy, we really knocked their socks off, didn't we?
What's the matter?
Nothing. I'm sorry. How was your flight?
It was a good flight. Who were you talking to?
Grandma. She hung up on me.
What?
She called me from Hawaii, and I told her I was really sorry that she was going to miss a ceremony, and then I asked her if she was angry with me, and she hung up on me.
She was probably just whacked out from surfing all day and luauing all night. It's a joke. She doesn't surf.
Barbara, I'm sure Grandma didn't hang up on you.
There's got to be some explanation, honey.
Oh, I heard a click. The explanation is she hates me. And then in my mind, I can hear the click of Dad's phone, and Mom already did her clicking. Oh, I just get the feeling that doing this is disappointing a lot of people.
Are you changing your mind? A few hours ago, you were all hot to get married.
I was hot for anything. That was the trouble.
The Romano hormones strike again.
I know what you mean.
So it's back to the Crystal Room in downtown Indianapolis? Is that what you're saying, Barb?
Oh, Mark, I guess I've always wanted a big photo album of wedding pictures of me and my husband climbing into a car with shoes and a big sign, and then me stuffing cake into my husband's mouth. Yeah, I don't think we should get married here. It's off.
Well, Barbara, besides, all your girlfriends are in Indianapolis. Who are you going to throw your bouquet to?
3 hookers and a stand-up comic?
I'm sorry. I feel like such a jerk.
No.
Oh, no,
it's
don't
okay.
worry about it.
Champagne. Well, we can celebrate not getting married this morning.
I get no kick from champagne. Mere alcohol. Hiya, kids. How are you? I saw the waiter in the hallway. I took the champagne. So champagne compliments Uncle Schneider. We're going to need some glasses.
Hello?
Well, jeez. Look at their faces, right? I told you they'd be speechless.
Hi, Mom.
Annie. Wow, you're here. You know Max?
Hi, Shorty.
Look at me. I haven't even kissed my sooner-than-expected-to-be son-in-law yet. Hi, Mark.
Yeah, this This is really terrific, you know what I mean? The gathering of the clan. I'm telling you, the family is the rock.
Oh, my God, Alex.
Oh, yeah, it was a long fight. He's really tired, the poor kid.
Oh, that wall is so comfortable. Yeah. Oh, congratulations, everybody. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Julie.
Right this way.
Well, this is a surprise.
Well, don't see why it should be. Hi, Max.
Hi.
How you feeling, Jules?
Fine, Mom.
Good. I mean, my daughter is getting married. I certainly should be at my daughter's wedding. No matter where the hell it is.
Mom, now, before you blow your top, I have something I should tell you.
Another surprise?
Now, wait a second. What is that supposed to mean? If you
That is
let me
supposed to mean that it is time for a toast.
To what, Schneider?
Well, here we are in Las Vegas. How about we toast Bugsy Siegel?
Bugsy Siegel?
Mom, I want to talk to you.
About what, Barbara?
You know, years ago, people would look at Las Vegas and they would see nothing but cactus and sand. But Bugsy saw blackjack and craps and keno.
Mom, I think you should at least listen to what Barbara is trying to say.
Why? She's going to tell me that she's right, and I'm going to tell her that she's stupid.
Stupid?
Where others saw jackrabbits and prairie dogs, Bugsy saw Shecky and Sammy and Charo.
I just hoped that when my daughter got married, she would be a grown-up, mature woman. I was wrong, so what? Big deal.
Bugsy saw Frank and Dean, and Bugsy saw Pia.
Is that right?
See, the point is that Bugsy came out here and he made a brand new beginning, and here we all are at the beginning of a new, brand new beginning. The marriage of Barbara and Mark, and I say to one and all, to Bugsy Siegel.
Shut up, Schneider.
Another toast. To my mother, who came all the way out here for a wedding, but actually really came out here to stop one.
That's not true. You're talking like a baby.
Well, in a couple hours, I'm going to be a baby bride, whether you like it or not.
Barbara.
A baby? So what else is new?
Annie.
Listen, folks, I would love to stay here and partake of this wedding chit-chat, but I tell you, Mark and Max and I, we have a date with fate. The crap table's call. Let's get the hell out of here.
Just a minute. This concerns me, too, you know.
Mark, please. I want to have a nice little chat with my mother.
Oh, we'll have a chat, all right.
Come on, big guy. Vámonos al Mesa de Crapola. Come on.
All right, I'm going, but I'll be downstairs if you need me. Page me.
I just want to tell you, all this yelling and name-calling and threats, this is turning into a real wedding celebration after all. God love the family.
Nine, center field, 9. 7 out, line away, paid the don'ts and last come.
Let me tell you something about that redhead upstairs, okay? Her bark is worse than her overbite. That's a dentist joke. He's a dentist, you know.
He's right about Annie, though, you know. 3 years ago, she couldn't stand me. Now, she tolerates me.
No shooter coming out.
Okay, so, where do I put these? How's this?
Don't. Please, excuse me, sir. May I take these chips back? The man is a novice. He's here with a tour.
What do you want me to do with these?
All right. You see the guy down at the end of the table? The guy with the bow tie? You bet against him. The man is a popsicle. Snyder's Law. Never bet on a man who wears a midget tie.
Craps, double aces, line away, pay the don'ts.
Do I know my popsicles?
Hey, look at this. I won. It's amazing.
You think that's amazing? What about me? I still don't know whether I'm in for an all-night crap game or my wedding night.
Kid, no matter how you cut it, any wedding night is an all-night crapshoot, all right?
Yes,
But you
I
did
know.
say, you know, you
Yes,
said
okay. I did say that I'd like a large wedding, but nobody said we had to upstage Lady Di.
Believe me, darling, stemware from Acme Rent-A-Party is not going to upstage the British Empire.
Why rent a party? We have friends at Jerry's Jug. They'd give us a discount, but no, that was my idea, so you changed it.
I did not change one idea of yours. It didn't have to be changed.
Okay. Oh. Did you hear that, Julie? Her wedding.
Okay. What difference does it make now? Plan B is to use slot machines rather than bridesmaids.
Did you hear that, Julie? Plan B. My plan is Plan B. Hers is Plan A.
Now, Barbara, look, you gotta admit, it is a little weird to get married at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Weird? You're calling me Weird? The girl who used to run away from home every 10 days? The girl who spent all of high school in the principal's office? The girl who drank ink?
Just that one time. Now listen, Barbara.
You're on her side, aren't you?
I am not on anybody's side. And I don't think you should be yelling in front of my child. Now look, both of you, can't you just sit down and talk this out in a calm, rational manner? Come on, Mom.
Rational? I'm getting rational from a daughter who had a wedding in the middle of the winter in the park and got married to her best man. You're telling me rational?
Nothing ever changes, does it? What? It never changes. You're giving her all your attention again.
I am paying extraordinary attention to you, my darling baby. We're examining how a person can disappoint so many people and ruin so many plans on a childish whim.
80 from the kid, 44 the hard way. Give me a 3 and a 5. Let me know you're alive.
You are embarrassing me.
What happened to me? I always stand on my own 2 feet. I'm putting myself through dental school. I was always an independent guy. What happened?
Ada winner take.
I'm betting on the guy with the Belafonte suit.
You see what I mean? I'm down here while up there the Trilateral Commission is deciding my fate.
Yeah, right. Okay, what do we do now, Dwayne?
Well, what we do now is we get off that guy.
Get off him? What are you talking about? The guy's hot. He's made 3 passes in a row.
I know that, but his wife just walked over to him. Whenever that happens, it's arrivederci money, past tense, finola, finito, get off.
You bet against him?
Absolutely. Here we go.
I mean, who do they think they are kicking me out of my own room?
I know, it could be a civil action. We're out on 5. 5's the point.
Treated me like an 8-year-old. Mark, go to the casino. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was like you were banished or burnished or something. 7 out, line away, paid the don'ts, and last comes.
Beautiful. We win again. Schneider, you're a genius.
I'm telling your mom finds out about us, we could be in trouble.
Yeah, there's gonna be some trouble. I'm gonna go right back upstairs and straighten this out right now.
Where's he going?
I don't think he's going to get a bite to eat.
You know, what really gets me, Barbara, is your thoughtlessness. I mean, you really should have some consideration for other people, but no. Your mother has to take your apple cores out of the clothes hamper.
I was 7 years old. You already spanked me for it, and anyway, they were not my apple cores. They were Julie's.
What?
Go ahead. Admit it.
Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt to admit it now.
I don't believe this.
Believe what?
Us. We have argued about everything from cathedrals to apple cores. There is really nothing left to argue about.
It's not funny, damn it.
That was your Auntie Barbara speaking. Oh, this wedding is making us all crazy.
Amen.
Oh, it doesn't break the record, though. 3 days before I was supposed to marry your father, I got so mad at my mother that I... It's true. Daddy had to chop the door down.
You never told us that.
Would you have told you that? Oh, heavens. Come on. Time's a-wasting. Let's get us down to the old Lucky 7 and get you married.
You mean that?
You love him. I love him. Let's marry the guy.
Barbara, look at it this way. It doesn't really matter where you get married. 50 years from now, when you and Mark drop by to take Mom out for some sun, she'll just be glad you're happily married.
Take Mom out for some sun.
I don't want to get married here.
You don't? Really?
No. There were only 2 reasons why I did. One, I was mad at you, and we're sitting on the other one. Mom, I was ready to call off this stupid ceremony until you told me to call it off. I've always wanted a big, fancy wedding.
Then you would be dumb not to have it. But there is something I ought to tell you. I've canceled everything.
No, wait a second. No, that is good news. That's good news.
Why?
Because that'll give us a chance to agree on something.
All right, all of you. I am going to talk, and you are going to listen.
Oh, Mark,
Barbara, I have had it up to here with this whole problem. Now, I am all for equality and all that, but at some point, someone has got to make a decision. And since I've got just as much at stake as anybody in this, it's going to be me. I am going to tell you exactly what is best for both of us. We are going back to Indianapolis, and we are going to have a whopping big traditional wedding like we wanted, just like we planned in the first place. And if anybody in this room doesn't like it, they don't have to be there. Okay, Barbara?
Oh, yes, Mark.
Annie?
Anything you say, Mark.
Good. Well, I'm glad that's settled. It just needed someone to take charge, that's all. You know, maybe it's true. Men are better at making decisions.
Mom.
Barbara, Schneider's not going to get back any faster with you looking out the window.
I'm starving. Where did he go for that pizza? Italy? Oh, at last.
Mind if I play through?
Oh, it's you.
Well, isn't that sweet? She's already beginning to treat me like a husband.
Oh, I'm sorry. Schneider left for pizza 3 days ago and hasn't been heard from since.
Make that an hour and a half ago.
Have you hugged your dentist today?
No,
Mark, what's with the golf clubs?
Oh, they're for Barbara. The family that plays together stays together.
I think I'm marrying a bumper sticker.
Here is your pizza with hot pepperoni.
Just got double-oni. You're late.
What do you mean I'm late? 7:30, and I am now looking at my stainless steel chronographic beer-proof watch, and it says 7:32.
Well, we said 6:30.
You said 7:30.
Who cares?
I care. I can give you the entire conversation, verb verbatim. 7:30.
Schneider, it's not important, but we did say 6:30.
Barbara's sneaking all the pepperoni off the pizza, and she won't give me any.
7:30.
6:30.
Do I smell the pizza?
Yes, you smell pizza, but you don't smell anchovies because Schneider forgot them.
I didn't forget them. You didn't ask for anchovies.
It doesn't make any difference, but yes, I did.
You did not. I would have remembered. I hate anchovies.
Well, maybe that's why you forgot them.
Wait a second. Wait just a second here. All right, first you start out 6:30, 7:30, and now you give me the stuff about the anchovies. I mean, what is it supposed to look like? I got room for rent?
Hey. It's not a crime to forget a couple of things.
Yeah, it happens to me all the time. Ask, what's her name here?
Well, I'll see you later.
Oh, you going, Schneider?
Yeah, I'm expecting a phone call from Beer Belly and the guys.
Oh, what about tomorrow?
About tomorrow.
You said you were going to show me how to tie trout flies for our fishing trip Saturday.
All right, so we'll do it tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, I'll bring all my stuff up.
Okay, see you tomorrow, Schneider.
Okay, kid.
Something has been on his mind. I mean, you know just as well as I do that Beer Belly's not going to call. He just wanted to get out of here.
Yeah, I heard you say 6:30, and I heard Barbara say anchovies. Maybe he's got brain fever or something from living so close to the boiler room.
I think something's wrong.
Well, maybe, but it is none of our business.
Mom, wait a second. Don't you care? Schneider's practically part of the family.
Yeah, well, if there's something wrong, I'm sure that Schneider will let us know. Meanwhile, there's something wrong right here in this room.
What?
Well, Schneider took a piece of pizza, and I have one, Mark one, you have one. Somebody here has 4 pieces.
I only have one piece.
I knew you were going to miss it. The carpet breaks towards City Hall.
Listen, my game's improving. The last 2 balls ended up in the bathroom.
Yeah? Well, just stay out of the water hazard. Where's the kid?
Oh, he'll be out in a minute. And my grandma's coming over, so let's talk while we have the chance.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, I don't know. You know, maybe like how we've known each other for 7 years and how you're practically like a father to me. And we've never really discussed my problems and your problems and what's bothering me and what's bothering you.
Okay, what's bothering you?
Nothing. It's enough about me. What's bothering you?
Barbara, I'm the one with all the fishing equipment, but you're doing all the fishing. Now, what's up?
Hi. Hi, Grandma.
Hey, what are you two up to?
Oh, nothing. We're just talking. I think something's bothering Schneider.
Oh, hey, well, good. What is it? Money, women, sex?
Nothing is bothering Schneider. Schneider is fine.
Oh, you're no fun. Honey, what did your mother do with my big broiler? I'm having people for dinner tonight.
Oh, really? I thought you were a vegetarian. It's in there. Schneider, look, we all love you, right? So if there's ever anything at all on your mind, I want you to let us know.
There is nothing on my mind. There's never anything on my mind.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop bothering you.
This is mine. This is mine. This is mine. I'm gonna move here so I can be near my stuff. This is mine. Schneider, will you get the kettle? Schneider.
Yeah, what? What's up, kid? What do you want?
You don't hear the kettle, do you?
Yeah, I hear the kettle. Why?
Hey, no wonder Barbara said you had something on your mind.
Well, I do. I'm very busy.
You know, when you start losing your hearing, sometimes other people notice the problem before you do.
I am not losing my hearing. I got 20 years.
How can you be sure?
How can I be sure? What do you think these are, rentals?
Hey, Barbara, I know what's bothering Schneider. He has a hearing problem.
You're kidding.
I do not have a hearing problem. Everything I have works perfectly. Ask around.
When was the last time you had your hearing checked?
What difference does it make? I'm not going to give my good hard-earned money to some doctor so he can go out and invest in condominiums.
Just listen to me. If you have a bad appendix, you do something about it. And if you start losing your hearing, first, you have to admit it, and you do something about it.
Schneider, come on now. Listen to Grandma. Yeah. You know, 15 years ago, she was so sure she was going to lose her hearing, she learned sign language.
Yeah, and then I had an operation on my ears.
Girls, let me explain something to you, okay? You do not take a perfect automobile in for an overhaul just because some bird diddled on the windshield.
I've heard this kind of stupidity before. Dwayne, there is a Dr. William Reston in the Riverside Medical Building. I want you to call him. He's one of the best in the business. He helped me.
All right, Dr. William Reston?
Right.
I'll give him a call.
Good.
When I need him.
That means that you are a stupid jackass.
And that means...
I know what that means.
Schneider, you know, you really better listen to Grandma while you still can.
Hey, Schneider, what are you doing?
I'm fighting for my life. Sit down over here.
Oh, great, you brought the stuff.
Yeah, these are all my flies. Let me tell you something, see? The thing is, when you want to start making flies, right, you got to experiment. I mean, you got to take all the stuff in here and you got to make some flies that you really think are going to hook the fish, right? Okay.
Schneider, where's the hook?
The book. I haven't had time to sit down and write the book.
No, Schneider, I didn't say book. I said hook.
What are you trying to do, test me?
No, I guess you just didn't hear me.
What do you mean I didn't hear you? What, you been in the other room talking to that blabbermouth?
What blabbermouth?
You were in there talking to Barbara, and then you come out here and you start making these dumb accusations.
Schneider, I didn't say a word to
I know what you people are up to, you know. I know what you're trying to do.
Schneider, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about you, and I'm talking about her, and I'm talking about Grandma. You people think you know everything. I'm telling you something, man. It's character assassination. It's personality deprivation. You're all trying to make me think that I'm going deaf.
Deaf? Is that what it is? I thought you were going nuts.
Hi there, Miss Romano.
Hello, Schneider.
Listen, is Alex around? I had a little run-in with him this morning.
Yeah, I know. I heard. He understands.
Well, you know, a man is supposed to yell at traffic, not at kids. I got him a little present. 10 flies.
Oh, thank you, Schneider. We have plenty of flies. We are a little low on ants, though. Schneider, look, Barbara told me about Grandma and the tea kettle. I think we all understand the problem.
Listen, why don't you just give him the present, and I'll...
Schneider, don't run away from it. Please, see an ear doctor.
I really gotta go. Beer Belly never called me.
Bull, Schneider, sit. You can't keep running like this. You're running, you're hiding, you're blowing up at kids. That's not like you, right? Schneider, now you are like a member of this family, so for our sake, please see a doctor.
Miss Romano, I did see a doctor this afternoon.
You did? That's terrific. What did he say?
Well, he said I'm going deaf.
Oh, Schneider, look at my mother. Her hearing is terrific now. I'll bet the doctors can do something.
Oh, yeah, they gave me a couple of terrific options.
Yeah?
Yeah, the first one is a hearing aid. And I'm telling you something right now. I am not running around with a plastic lima bean growing out of my ear.
It's no worse than wearing a pair of glasses. I don't know. Okay. What's the second choice?
The knife. Go in the hospital, they cut my ear open, they put a piece of wire in there, and they just hope that I pick up something besides police calls.
Them's the truces, kid. Which one you taking?
Number 3. I'm just going to smile at people a lot. I'm going to look wise. I'm going to read lips.
But you don't have to do that. The operation worked for my mother.
There's even a 1% chance that I'll lose the hearing I have in this ear. They cannot guarantee you a thing, those people.
For heaven's sake, Schneider, in your life, how many sure things are there? Besides Boom Boom Borowski.
Miss Romano, would you be willing to take that risk? Just consider this. Never again to hear the honk of a goose as it leaves the frigid north heading south. Never again to hear the plunk plunk when you pick up the 710 split. Never again to hear the soft murmur of a feminine voice sighing, "Thank you, Mr. Wonderful."
Get another opinion?
Well, others say sometimes Mr. Terrific.
And if the second doctor agrees with the first, consider an operation.
I will. I'm going to have it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have the operation.
That doesn't sound like you are.
Well, it's just that I also have, I have a little hernia, and I thought I may have them both done at the same time.
Right, sure. As soon as you find a good eye, ear, nose, and hernia man.
Hi, everybody. I just went shopping. What's the matter? What's wrong?
Oh, Schneider went to the doctor and found out that he was...
Going deaf.
Oh, Schneider, I'm so sorry. I'm sure they can do something. I say, Schneider, I'm sorry. I know they can work something out.
Excuse me now. I have to go to work.
Okay.
Excuse me! I have to go to work!
Hiya, Schneider.
Barbara?
Schneider.
Barbara, sometimes in the panorama of this life, a man occasionally looks in the peephole of his spirit, and he sees something about himself which makes him sorry that he looked into the peephole in the first place.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say, I guess, is that I came up here to apologize to everybody for, jumping all over.
Oh, Schneider, please don't worry about it. We all understand it's a very rough decision.
Oh, you mean about the operation? That's not really no big deal. I think perhaps someday I'll maybe, have it done. Sure.
Perhaps, probably, maybe.
Well, I'm scheduled in for August. I'm going in there in August, and they're going to do it. So I mean, of course, if I have a cold, I can't go in. They don't want to touch you if you have a cold.
Hi, Grandma.
Hi, honey. Schneider, you are the customer I'm looking for. Boy, have I got wonderful news about the
Look,
operation.
Catherine, I'd really love to talk to you about it, but I gotta get downstairs and feed Mrs. Bradshaw's piranha. They really get nasty if you're late.
Schneider, don't worry about it. I already fed them.
Come on, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you, Schneider. Listen, I just happened to run into Dr. Reston
Where, at the bank?
in his office.
Oh, what a lucky coincidence.
And listen, he can take you next Wednesday morning at 7 a.m.
Just chew. I think I'm getting the Asian flu.
Sounds more like the chicken flu. Be at the hospital admissions desk, 4:30 Tuesday afternoon. Bring your Blue Cross card and your toothbrush.
And a nice clean pair of jammies.
You really have a sadistic streak, don't you?
Listen, be good or I'll cancel the TV I ordered for your room.
Oh, come on now, Catherine, you can't do this. You can't drag somebody in off the street and start cutting them up. That's illegal speech and surgery.
Look, you have to confirm. It's your decision. You have to call the doctor. Dwayne, I'm not pushing you. Here. Oh, come on, Dwayne. Listen, wouldn't you love to hear the pitter-patter of the rain on the roof again? Or maybe a symphony that includes the flutes and the fifes?
What?
See, you didn't hear me.
I heard you. What the hell is a fife?
Straight line with your feet to the cup and overlap your little finger. Now just let the weight of the club swing through. Oh, pretty good. Any questions?
Yeah, what do I wear?
Wear anything. Wear blue.
Blue?
Blue.
Blue on a green?
So wear red.
Red?
What difference does it make? Do you want to play around or not?
Oh, well, now you're talking for good. I can golf.
Hey, you guys, would you tell me if I'm in the way because I'd be very... Hey, it's about time you got back. Dinner's almost ready.
Sorry. We would have been back a lot sooner if it wasn't for that dumb ambulance.
An ambulance?
It was nothing. I think I'm going to pack my things for the trip.
Hold it. What about an ambulance?
Oh, it's nothing, Mr. Romano. Just one of the inconveniences of living in a big city.
I know all about the big city. Tell me about the ambulance.
Well, it's just a very little itty-bitty ambulance.
Yeah, I think it was a Honda.
See, we were going through this intersection, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes this ambulance. Well, thanks to my good reflexes, I swerved out of the way, I slammed on the brakes, and we stopped, what, in 30 feet?
Yeah, would have stopped in 20 feet if the guy just hadn't finished watering his lawn.
Schneider, how can you miss an ambulance? Didn't you hear the siren?
Yeah.
No.
Look, nobody got hurt. It could have happened to anybody, and so anyway, that's that. Come on now, you got to get a bite to eat, and you got to go to bed. We'll get up at 3:30.
Right,
oh.
Schneider.
It couldn't have happened to just anybody. It happened to you, Schneider, because of your hearing problem. I'm sorry I can't let Alex ride in the car with you.
What?
I am sorry.
Miss Romano, the windows were up. The music was on.
Oh, great. Back to fly casting in the alley. You know, you wouldn't want to eat some of the things I've caught in there.
You both could have been killed.
Miss Romano, what are you saying? You're not going to let Alex drive with me because you don't trust me?
Schneider, I'm sorry, but you almost had an accident. I feel terrible about this.
You feel terrible about it.
Look, if it happened once, it could happen again. And next time, you may not be so lucky. Schneider, if you can't hear a siren or a whistle or a horn...
A whistle? How many people have been run over by a tea kettle?
How about a train?
Listen, Dwayne, we all understand how upset you are about this.
No, you really... Same thing happened to my father, you know?
No, what happened to him?
Well, he started to lose his hearing. Well, he went deaf. I mean, he lost his job. He gave up. I watched him, turn into an old man. Fast. Of course, he didn't have the options that I had.
It's true.
Well, that finishes off my last nail.
Yeah, I have some left.
You're a real rock, Mom. I haven't even taken Schneider into the operating room yet.
Oh, Schneider.
32.
Hi, Schneider. Hi, Schneider.
Oh, my
God, it's the Sisters of Mercy.
Well, I'm glad to see you still have your sense of humor.
Yeah, they're not gonna amputate that. Those pills they give you for breakfast, they're better than cocoa booms.
Schneider, you okay? You scared?
Well, I was before breakfast.
Oh, Schneider, listen, there's no reason to be scared. You're going to hear the minute that they hook up that little wire. You'll hear better than you've heard in years, right there on the operating table.
Oh, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, move them out.
Good luck.
Good luck. Good
Bye-bye.
luck to the three of you. Good luck. Anchors away, my boy.
Crimper? And my elevator? Track, please. We're all through. You did very well, Mr. Snyder.
Did you just say Mr. Schneider?
Yes, I did.
Oh, wow. I heard that so clear. Oh, gee, that's great. Would somebody say something else? Say anybody, say something else.
What would you like me to say?
Oh. How about your place or mine?
Mom, what are you doing? Mom. Mom! Why don't you just relax and read the Sunday paper, huh?
Relax when there's work to be done. Oh, come on. Will you look at that? A wild lint. Mom, sit. Where's the obituary page?
Mom, why do you want that?
Oh, I just want to check on which friends I don't have to call today.
Mom, you know what I think? I think you need something to do.
You're right. I'll vacuum the drapes.
Mom, you are a vital, intelligent woman. You need to get involved in something that you can sink your teeth into.
Yeah, I'll bake some bread.
Problem is you're bored, right?
Oh, Annie, out of my gourd.
Okay, Mom, why don't you take some classes? Learn something new. No, really. I just got this terrific brochure from the city college.
Oh, come on.
No.
Annie, I haven't opened a textbook in years.
It doesn't matter, Mommy. They'll take anybody. It really sounds great.
Yeah? Maybe I will look into it.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be fun.
Yeah? Imagine me, a college girl. Do they still have panty raids?
Yeah. I tell you, Miss Romano, with this little beauty in my hands, you're going to be stepping in walleye bass up to your barnacles.
Natty, you're a sweet-talking fool.
Tell you, the reason I really like this rig, you know, is because I can also go ice fishing with it.
Ice fishing?
Oh, yeah, ice fishing is terrific. Get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you drive out on the ice, you take a little chainsaw, you cut a hole in the ice, set up a little shanty, open a case of beer, build a little fire. And when the beer's all gone and the shanty burns down, you float home.
Well, you certainly look prepared. It's a terrific-looking fishing rod.
Hi, Mom, Schneider.
Hey, kiddo, how are you?
Sweetheart, how was your day?
Lousy. I mean, the weirdos you meet in elevators these days.
Ta-da!
Oh, Mom! Hi! Where have you been? We've been trying to get in touch with you for days.
Well, I've been taking classes, studying day and night for a week, learning everything that I can.
Hey, terrific!
Yeah, Miss Romano told me that you've been studying down at the city college.
Oh, no, I'm studying with Countess Zelda. Who? Countess Zelda. I read about her on the bulletin board at the supermarket.
Supermarket?
Yeah. I have a new career, tarot card reading.
My grandmother, the gypsy.
Well, I guess it's better than dusting.
Yeah, but when the full moon comes out, I wouldn't date anybody with hairy feet.
For your information, Smarty, tarot card reading is a very honorable and ancient profession, and it's not a fake.
Mom, you never believed in stuff like that.
Oh, I believe now. I may do it professionally.
You're going to read cards for a living? You got to be kidding.
Why don't you just write those sayings in the fortune cookies?
Come on, you gotta be kidding, Catherine. This thing is all a con game.
It is not.
Mom, whatever possessed you to get into tarot cards?
Well, when I left here last Sunday, I looked up my horoscope, and it said, good things are in the cards for you.
Yeah,
but so
Mom...
then I saw Countess Zelda's ad. Countess Zelda says that I'm a natural. She says I have a rare and unique talent for reading cards.
Oh, come on, Mom.
Yeah, well, she says that she hasn't met anybody with my psychic ability since she left her little farm.
In Romania?
Pittsburgh. Well, her real name is Gladys Kesselman. Well, everybody takes names. I am Madame Rachmaninoff.
You tell people you're a madam, they're going to expect a lot more than a cup of tea leaves.
Now, come on. I came over here so I could read you. You're my first subjects.
What are you talking about? It's all a bunch of bunk. It's just a ripoff.
Come on, Grandma, don't listen to Schneider. Read me.
Okay. What you do is you cut the cards into 3 piles.
Okay.
Okay? And that is your past, your present, and your future.
Okay, well, skip my past. There's nothing worth remembering for Mom to know.
Oh.
Just do my present.
Okay, your present it is. Now, we deal them out like that. Oh, that's very interesting.
What's interesting?
Green. The color green.
Green?
Yeah, green is not a good color for you, Barbara. I'm getting very bad vibes. Green's going to bring you nothing but problems.
What does all that mean?
Don't fool around with anybody from Mars.
And, oh, don't you dare do what I say on your date tonight.
Grandma, come on, be serious.
Well, honey, the rest just isn't very clear. I'm sorry.
Okay. Do Mom.
Okay.
Well,
Come
all
on,
right.
come
Well,
on.
what do I have to do?
This is ridiculous.
I'll just shuffle them up once, and then you cut the cards into 3 piles.
Okay, since you did Barbara's present, why don't you do my future?
Your future.
Yeah.
Okay, your future it is. Are you planning a trip to Leipzig?
Leipzig? No, not this week.
Good, you wouldn't like it. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. What uh-huh?
I see you having a big argument with somebody very close to you.
Do you know who it is?
Oh, I'm not sure, honey, but gee, it's going to be a terrible fight.
You are really a barrel of laughs with these readings. Could we have some good news for a change?
Well, but honey, I have no control over the cards. I just see what I see.
I'm trying to tell you this is a bunch of bunk. Going to prove it? Go ahead, Catherine. Read me. Come on.
No, not if you're not going to take it seriously.
I won't get around. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you my super-duper extra special advanced reading.
What are you going to do first? Spit in the mouth of a dead frog?
First, you may call me Madame Rachmaninoff.
You got it, Rocky.
Okay. Now, I want you to put both hands on top of the deck and let all of your energy and emotions flow into the cards.
I'll burn a hole through that table.
Go on, do it. Now, cut the deck into 3 piles.
Have you learned anything yet?
Yes, you can't count. I said 3 piles.
Okay.
Okay, now that's your past, your present, and your future.
All right, well, do my past, because that way I'll know when you bluff.
Very well. Your past it is.
You ladies better get out of the room.
Oh, hey, that's interesting. I see as a child that you were raised in a very tough area.
Tough? I know a kid held his socks up with thumbtacks.
And I see you in money trouble.
That was my trouble. I had no money.
And I see you running or traveling a lot.
All right, so I was in the Navy. So far, you haven't said anything you don't know.
Oh, and I see your little dog. I think it's a little dog. You ran away from him, but he kept looking for you for years. Oh, he never forgot you, Dwayne.
What the hell are you talking about? I never had a dog.
But I see him very clearly. Very clearly. His name was Brownie or Bowser or Bobby or...
How did you say Brownie?
Oh, boy, my psychic powers are taking over now. That's what I see.
What do you know about Brownie?
It's all in the cards.
Are you okay?
Somebody called you?
No.
Somebody called you about me from out of state?
Well, Schneider, it's just all in the cards.
Oh, my God. After all these years, they're still after me.
Schneider, Grandma said she saw a dog.
Brownie's no dog, he's a hood. He's with the mob.
Schneider, what are you talking about? Who is after you?
Brownie! You heard what Madame Romanoff said?
Rachmaninoff.
Who the hell cares? A commie's a commie.
Schneider, Grandma said Brownie was a dog.
No, I said I thought he was a dog.
Everything she said was right.
It is? Oh, Countess Zelda was right. I do have psychic powers.
Schneider, you are jumping to conclusions based on the one word Brownie.
I knew they were going to find me. There's no way you can hide from these people. It took them 25 years, but they did it. See, they did it. They did it. They found me.
Who are they, and why are they looking for you?
What did you do to have the mob after you?
25 years ago, I borrowed $500 from Brownie Faster-Gagarella. He's a loan shark.
Loan shark?
See, I got a tip on a race. It was supposed to be fixed. I put the 500 down on the horse. It was supposed to be a sure thing.
And he didn't win?
That glue pot. He ran like he was wearing support hooves. Well, I couldn't pay Brownie back, and he threatened me, so I joined the Navy.
Well, couldn't you tell him you'd pay it all back eventually?
You ever try to reason with a guy that's got no neck?
Schneider, come on. Grandma just had a lucky guess.
Of course, that's all it is.
No, it isn't.
It is.
It isn't! No, what else do you see there? Come on.
Yeah, well, I see, did Brownie live in...
What right? She said New York.
Yeah, well, that's right. Next to New Jersey, they both start with New. They're both on the East Coast. The woman is batting 1,000.
Schneider, I really think you're getting a little carried away.
Come on. You're getting yourself worked up over nothing. Grandma had a lucky guess. She just started reading tarot cards.
Oh. Ooh.
Mom, I'm sorry. I'll clean it up.
No, that's all right. I'll help you with it.
Grandma had a lucky guess, huh? Grandma had a lucky guess. What color is that ice cream?
Pistachio.
It is not. It's green.
Oh, now, come on. There's a logical explanation for this whole thing. I'm sure there is. Now, it must have been the only ice cream in the freezer, right?
No, there was a couple other flavors. I don't know why I picked it.
But you couldn't help yourself, Barbara. The cards told you to do it.
Right. You know that? She really is right, man.
Oh, now, come on.
It's all in the cards.
Schneider, what are you worried about?
What am I worried about? You know what Brownie's favorite colors are? Black and blue. He's gonna break one of these, both of these, and all of these with a baseball bat. Yeah, and then for his finale, he's gonna play the bells of St. Mary's on these.
I don't believe a word of this. Mom, for crying out loud, do you see what you did?
I just tell what I see, nothing more, nothing less.
Oh, give me a
Well,
break.
thank God she warned me. I mean, at least this way I can get out of town. Get out of town? I already did that 25 years ago. They're gonna get me no matter where I go.
Oh, Schneider, come on. There must be something you can do.
I can call the FBI. I call the CIA. Nah, the shark call the CIA.
Hello? Oh, hi, Ed. Look, this isn't, could I call you back another time? No, I can't talk now. No, I mean, I just can't talk right now. I'd be glad to... Hey, Ed, come on. We've been divorced for a long time, so I really don't need that Look, this is really dumb. I'm gonna hang up, okay? What did you say? Who the hell do you think you're talking to? Yeah, we'll blow it out your nose, Cooper!
Annie, I had no idea the argument was going to be with Ed, honest.
Argument? What argument?
She predicted the argument?
Now, come on. Grandma read your past. It can't happen now.
Oh, it can't, huh? Let me tell you something. These guys got memories like elephants. Some of them are twice as big.
Schneider, can't you pay back the $500 now?
Miss Romano, it's not $500 anymore. Just for the privilege of making a loan, you got to pay him $20 a week, and that doesn't even go against the principal. It's been 25 years. I must owe him $25,000.
Do you have it? I got here as fast as I could. Any change?
No, Mom. Schneider's getting worse.
Oh, Schneider has been in his apartment for 3 days now.
But he's been in his apartment 3 days before.
That was with Boom Boom Borowski and a case of bourbon.
Mom, you have got to read Schneider's cards again. Tell him that you made a mistake, that everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, tell him that your deck of cards is being recalled by Ralph Nader.
You want me to lie to Schneider?
Mom, let me put it this way.
Yeah. But Annie, I really believe that I can read the past, the present, the future.
But Mom, what if you can't? Then you're hurting an innocent, gullible person.
That's right. It's really dangerous unless you really know what you're doing.
Mom, you're not really psychic. Face it, Mom. Did you ever pick the right horse in a race? Ever? Or win a football pool even once?
Not really.
Mom, I think that this has been preying on Schneider's subconscious for a long time. All the fear and guilt he's had about not paying back the money all came out when you mentioned Brownie.
We're really worried about Schneider. He's been acting strange and is liable to do anything.
All right, I'll do it. But I just hope Countess Zelda doesn't find out.
We promised not to tell her.
Oh, thank you.
Or Miss Rona. Now, let's go pay Schneider a visit.
Oh, hey, I have to take my cards.
Okay.
Are you sure he's in there?
Yes.
Oh, the secret knock.
Huh?
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's that all about?
Who's knocking out there to come in here?
Dan Romano.
No sé qué tú fui pensando.
Schneider, open the door. It's me, Catherine Romano.
It's me too, Schneider. Barbara?
How do I know you're who you say you are?
Schneider, who do you think we are? Rich Little?
Look, I'm tall, gorgeous, sexy as hell, and if you don't open that door, I'm gonna kick you in the slats.
Are we late for services?
How's the wine crop this year?
Forgive them, they know not what they say.
Just a little disguise. Buy me a little time when Brownie gets here.
Schneider, everything is going to be all right. We have terrific news.
That's right. So before you take your final vow, Grandma, tell him.
Listen, Father, Dwayne. This whole thing is a terrible mistake. I read your cards wrong. Nothing I said was true.
What are you giving me?
No, nothing I said counts. The deck of cards was defective.
Right, Schneider. Mom wasn't playing with a full deck.
Right. You interrupted the last reading as soon as you heard the word brownie. So come on, let's try it again.
Oh, listen, I really don't think I should mess around with that.
Come
no more.
on, you got nothing to lose.
Except 2 arms and a foot.
There, now. Aha.
What?
Oh, I still see a little puppy. It's so cute.
What color is it?
It's spotted.
Gracias, mi jefe.
See, Schneider, not brown. Now, don't you feel foolish?
Mind that. Go ahead, Catherine. Read them things some more.
Oh, well, okay.
What?
I think I have to go.
What?
What did the card say?
Nothing. It said nothing.
Well, it has to say something.
It didn't mean anything.
What didn't mean anything?
The death card.
The death card. That's the death card.
Mom, are you crazy? Don't tell Schneider that.
Don't tell me that.
Come on, this is a bad joke, right?
That's no joke. That is the death card.
Stop saying that.
Grandma, how can you tell someone right to his face that you turned over the death card?
Right to his face.
Do you want me to lie to Schneider?
Yes.
Through your teeth.
But his life is in danger.
Don't tell him that.
I see him getting shot. No, it's true. I see it in the cards. The cards don't lie. I see Schneider getting shot.
What am I going to do? Where am I going to go?
Mom, this is terrible. You are a fake. Schneider, the woman, is a fake. That is the most inconsiderate thing I have ever seen.
Wait till you see me get blasted. Now, wait a second. Now, hold it. I'm doing the same thing to myself. Stop it, 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 stop it. Okay, that's it. That's all. No more disguises. If I have a rendezvous with destiny, so be it. Que sera, sera. Just a minute, I'm cleaning my machine gun.
Schneider, it's Burton Roberts from 207. Can I see you, please?
What is it?
Schneider. Oh, you're going to go upstairs and see Miss LaRue? Hi.
Hi.
Come on, Roberts. You know the house rules. No canines, pooches, or dogs allowed on the premises.
I know that, Schneider, but I found this little guy shivering in the alley. Couldn't I just keep him for the night? My sister promised to take him tomorrow, please.
Yes.
This kind of cute.
Yeah.
Little fella shivering in the Ow! Ow!
Are you okay?
Yeah, it's just a scratch.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the dog's a little nervous. Thanks again, Schneider. Bye.
Bye. Schneider, did the bite break the skin?
Yeah, but it's just a scratch.
Well, just to be on the safe side, you should call your doctor, get a tetanus shot.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You see, I'm not a fake. I was right after all. What? I said I saw him getting shot. Not what kind of shot. A tetanus injection is a shot. I don't care what you say. I can read the cards. I am psychic. Who wants to be next? Oh, Madam Rachmaninoff is on a roll. Come on, get in line, get in line. Who wants to be next? Anybody want the cards? Come on.
I have lived with this series longer than I have lived with most of the people who raised me. The episodes arrive not as scheduled broadcasts, but as weather systems that still move through the rooms of my memory at odd hours. When the composite script opens on the strained domestic comedy of wedding planning, I do not see a sitcom living room in Indianapolis. I see the particular quality of late afternoon light that used to fall across my own mother's kitchen table whenever she was trying to force a celebration into existence against the resistance of money, time, and the stubborn, private wills of the people she loved. The dialogue begins in mid-argument, already frayed, already comic in the way that genuine exhaustion becomes comic when it is overheard by strangers. Anne wants the big wedding. Barbara wants to keep the costs from becoming a second mortgage on their future. Schneider offers the lodge and its Mickey Spillane room and its $3.50 a head cold cuts and its Jell-O mold shaped like Dolly Parton. The laughter that must have rolled across the studio audience is the same laughter that once rolled across my childhood living room when an adult relative tried to solve a crisis with a solution so absurd it temporarily dissolved the ache crisis. I remember the precise feeling, the relief of the absurd followed almost immediately by the knowledge that the absurd would not hold. Mark enters with the news of the trip. He has washed his truck, gone to school, eaten a chili burger of transcendent quality, and almost as an afterthought won a trip for two to Las Vegas because the American Dental Association is holding a convention and the top student is supposed to attend, only he finished third and a flu bug elevated. The survivors. The line is pure early 80s sitcom construction. The kind of inverted achievement that allows the character to remain likable while still claiming the prize. Yet when I hear it now decades later, I do not hear the joke first. I hear the particular Midwestern hunger for a free escape, the way a young couple on the edge of a large and expensive ritual will seize any sanctioned interruption. Las Vegas in 1982 was not yet the corporate theme park destination it would become. It was still close enough to its outlaw origins that the idea of going there carried a faint moral static. Schneider knows this. His warning about red velour wallpaper and Midwestern glands and paintings of nubile women feeding skinless grapes to supine men is delivered with the exaggerated moral panic of a man who has never left the apartment building for longer than a weekend and who therefore invests every departure with mythic danger. I have known men like him. One of them was my uncle, who could turn a trip to the state fair into a cautionary tale about the collapse of civilization. The comedy lands because Schneider is both ridiculous and correct. Things do happen in Las Vegas. The desert exists for a reason. The hotel room sequence is where the first true crack appears. The script gives us the awkward exchange with the bellman, the sudden appearance of an old acquaintance of Mark's who wants him to slip away, the embarrassed arrival of Barbara, the quick cover of separate rooms. Then the phone call from Anne, who is still fighting the Crystal Room versus the Skylark Room while her daughter is hundreds of miles away in Neon. I can feel the physical distance in the dialogue. Anne's voice arrives through the receiver as a continuation of the same argument that was happening in the Indianapolis living room, as if geography were irrelevant and maternal will could simply ignore state lines. Barbara's answers are clipped defensive already halfway into the rebellion that will soon propose a 4:30 in the morning ceremony at the Lucky 7 wedding chapel. The crack is not yet visible to the characters. But it is visible to anyone who has ever watched a young couple try to remain the people their parents need them to be while standing in a city designed to erase the past. What stays with me is the quality of the nervous laughter that must have filled the soundstage. It is the laughter of an audience that understands the stakes even as it is invited to treat them lightly. Barbara and Mark are 7.5 weeks from a wedding that has already become a financial and emotional siege. The trip is supposed to be a brief reprieve, a chance to take notes on dental bonding techniques and perhaps win a little money at the slots. Instead, it becomes the place where the pressure of the big traditional wedding collides with the sudden availability of an alternative that requires no crystal room, no house band, no endless negotiations over lamb versus Cornish hen. The script does not yet announce the elopement. It only lets the possibility begin to breathe in the air-conditioned hotel room, in the way Barbara looks at Mark after the phone call, in the way Mark's hands find her shoulders, and the conversation about bonding teeth slides almost without intention into the question of whether they are supposed to wait. I remember a night in my early 20s when a similar crack appeared. A relationship that had been proceeding according to a careful and expensive plan suddenly found itself in a city that did not care about the plan. The neon was different, the stakes were smaller, but the feeling was the same, the dizzying realization that the future could be rewritten in a single impulsive decision and that the people who loved you most would experience that rewriting as betrayal. When Barbara later says that for the first time she is making a decision without looking over her shoulder for her mother's approval, I hear the exact pitch of that younger self's voice. The excitement is real. So is the terror. The script captures both without needing to name them. Schneider's presence in these early scenes is already more than comic relief. He is the self-appointed guardian of the old order, the man who has watched Anne hold the family together through divorce and scarcity, and who therefore treats any deviation from the planned wedding as a personal affront to the idea of permanence. His offer of the lodge is not merely cheap, it is an attempt to keep the ceremony inside the known world of the apartment building, inside the hierarchy he understands. When he is brushed aside, the rejection lands harder than the script's laughter admits. I have watched the same dynamic in families where the eccentric uncle or the building superintendent or the perpetual bachelor has become the unofficial historian of the household. Their jokes are the only language they have been allowed for expressing investment. When the investment is ignored, the jokes grow louder and more elaborate, as if volume could substitute for relevance. The first crack is not dramatic, it is administrative. It is the difference between $17.50 a plate and the $3.50 cold cut spread. It is the difference between the Crystal Room and the Mickey Spillane Room. It is the difference between a wedding that requires 8 more weeks of debt accumulation and a ceremony that can be accomplished before sunrise with a borrowed bucket of ice for the champagne. The script lets us feel the weight of that difference in the way the characters talk past one another. Anne hears extravagance and legitimacy. Barbara hears control and the erasure of her own preference. Mark hears the opportunity to stop performing the role of the future son-in-law long enough to remember that he is also a young man who has just won a free trip and would like to enjoy it. Schneider hears the collapse of the only social structure that has ever given him a consistent audience. I return to the chili burger. It is a throwaway detail, the kind of line written to establish Mark's ordinary day before the extraordinary news. Yet in the composite script, it sits like a small glowing coal, the best chili burger he has ever had. In a city about to offer him blackjack and possible matrimony at 4:30 in the morning, the memory of that ordinary pleasure feels almost nostalgic already. I think of the meals that have marked turning points in my own life. The ones that tasted better than they should have because they occurred on the edge of a decision whose consequences I could not yet calculate. The chili burger is the last fully ordinary object in the sequence. After it, everything begins to tilt toward neon. The nervous laughter that saturates these opening scenes is not the laughter of pure comedy. It is the sound of an audience recognizing its own compromises. Everyone in that studio, and everyone watching at home in 1982, understood the pressure of the big wedding the way it could turn a private commitment into a public performance whose costs were measured in both money and daisy. Emotional compliance. The trip to Las Vegas arrives as a temporary amnesty from that performance. The crack begins the moment the amnesty starts to look more attractive than the original plan. I have carried that crack with me for years. It reappears whenever I watch two people who love each other begin to negotiate the distance between the life they are expected to stage and the life they might actually be able to stand. The script moves with the slightly breathless pace of early 80s multi-camera comedy, yet underneath the pace there is a slower current of dread. Anne's phone calls keep arriving like tidal reminders that the old world has not released its claim. Schneider's warnings grow more operatic. Barbara's patience thins. Mark's hands, trained to work with the small precise instruments of dentistry, begin to explore the larger and less precise territory of desire and decision. The neon is already visible even before they leave the hotel room. It is visible in the way the dialogue starts to leave spaces where a different future could be inserted. Those spaces are the first true subject of the composite. Everything that follows the cards, the chapel, the hearing loss, the tarot, the returned debt of 25 years grows from the moment a free trip to Las Vegas opened a door that the big traditional wedding had been carefully keeping shut. I close my eyes and the studio lights of 1982 become the particular yellow of a cheap hotel lamp. I can almost smell the residual cigarette smoke that still clung to such rooms, then the industrial detergent in the curtains, the faint ozone of the air conditioning. Barbara is sitting on the edge of the bed. Mark is standing near the window looking out at a city that does not care whether they wait 7.5 weeks or 7.5 minutes. The first crack is not a fracture. It is a hairline almost invisible, the kind that only becomes obvious later when the entire structure has shifted. I have spent decades learning to see those hairlines in the people I love and in the stories that taught me how to love them. This is where the composite begins, not with the announcement of an elopement but with the quieter, more dangerous moment when an alternative first becomes thinkable. The nervous laughter is still present. It has not yet turned into the sharper sound that will come when the alternative is chosen and then almost immediately threatened by the arrival of the family that cannot bear to be left behind. I have never been able to separate the sound of a deck of cards being shuffled in a Las Vegas hotel room from the particular silence that follows when two people decide to let chance settle what courage cannot. In the composite, the moment arrives almost casually. After the conversation about dental bonding has already slid into territory neither of them fully intended. Barbara has said the words that have been circling the room like heat. She has waited all her life for the right man and the right moment, and both are here. Mark answers by reaching for the cards. The gesture is playful on the surface, the kind of sitcom device that promises a laugh and a temporary resolution. Yet when I watch it now, or rather when I read the jagged lines of the transcript and reconstruct the scene in the private theater of memory, the playfulness feels like a thin skin stretched over something far more serious. They are not deciding whether to order room service. They are deciding whether the carefully constructed future of a big Indianapolis wedding still has any claim on them. The rules are simple. High card means they wait the remaining 7.5 weeks. The other outcome means they do not. I can see the way Barbara's hands would have hovered, the way Mark's would have tried to look steadier than they felt. The script gives us the sequence in fragmented dialogue, the Jack the Queen, the sudden appearance of the Joker that neither of them quite knows how to interpret. In the moment the Joker appears, the entire enterprise of fate, as card game, collapses into comedy, and yet the comedy does not erase the hunger that made them reach for the deck in the first place. I have played similar games myself, though never with a marriage hanging in the balance. I have cut cards to decide whether to leave a city, whether to make a phone call I was afraid to make, whether to keep a secret or finally speak it. The cards never actually decide. They only give permission for a decision that has already been forming in the darker rooms of the mind. What the composite captures with unexpected precision is the seduction of escape itself. Las Vegas in the early 1980s still carried the faint perfume of its outlaw origins. The neon was brighter than the future many of its visitors could imagine for themselves back home. A ceremony at the Lucky 7 wedding chapel at 4:30 in the morning required no crystal room, no endless negotiations over lamb and Cornish hen, no bridal consultant calculating the cost per plate, no mother watching from the sidelines with a mixture of pride and proprietary fear. It required only the willingness to step outside the script that had been written for them. When Barbara later tells Mark that for the first time she is making a decision without looking over her shoulder for her mother's approval, the line lands with the force of a confession. I have spoken versions of that sentence. I have heard it spoken by people I loved who were trying to become adults in the only way the moment allowed, by disappointing the people whose approval had previously been the measure of their worth. The phone call that follows is the true center of this section. Anne's voice arrives from Indianapolis, already armed with the news. She has been doing fast figuring. She knows they are getting married in Las Vegas at 4:30 in the morning at the Lucky 7 wedding chapel. The laughter that must have erupted from the studio audience is the laughter of recognition. Every adult child has imagined the moment when a parent discovers the private plan. Every parent has imagined the moment when the child finally steps beyond reach. Anne's reaction moves through the classic stages with remarkable speed: disbelief, mockery of the name itself, moral condemnation, withdrawal of support, and finally the raw question of why this is being done to her. The phrase childish inconsiderate brat is not merely an insult. It is the sound of a woman watching the carefully assembled architecture of a daughter's wedding collapse into a punchline delivered by a stranger in a chapel that shares its name with a convenience store. I remember the night my own mother learned of a decision I had made without consulting her. The details were smaller, the stakes less ceremonial, but the temperature of the voice on the telephone was the same. There is a particular quality of parental anger that is indistinguishable from grief. Anne is not only angry that the big wedding is being abandoned. She is grieving the loss of the role she had assigned herself in that wedding. The visible proof that her years of holding the family together had produced a proper public celebration. The Lucky 7 offers no such proof. It offers only the private fact of two people deciding they are enough for each other without the supporting cast. Schneider's presence in the aftermath is both comic and strangely tender. He arrives with advice about formal attire: the double-breasted mohair with satin lapels versus the single-breasted wool worsted with brocade, as if the real crisis were one of wardrobe rather than of allegiance. When Barbara snaps that she will paint her fanny green and go naked, the line is pure sitcom bravado. Yet underneath it, I hear the exhaustion of a young woman who has spent weeks being told that her preferences are secondary to the spectacle. Schneider's later observation that at least they had the common sense to make it legal is the closest the script comes to acknowledging the deeper cultural anxiety of the period, the fear that young people left to their own devices in a city of neon and easy ceremonies might simply skip the legalities altogether. The laughter that greets the line is the laughter of an audience that still believes legality is the minimum requirement for seriousness. What stays with me most is the way the idea of fate is handled. Barbara and Mark invoke it as if it were a neutral force that has brought them to this hotel room, this deck of cards, this hour of the night. Yet fate in the composite is never neutral. It is the name they give to their own desire when desire feels too dangerous to claim outright. The joker that appears in place of the expected queen is the perfect emblem. They saw what they wanted to see. Some people play jokers wild. The line is tossed off as a joke, but it contains the entire moral problem of the sequence. When the rules of the game are adjusted after the fact to accommodate the preferred outcome, the game itself becomes a form of storytelling rather than a form of chance. I have adjusted the rules of my own games in exactly this way. I have called it fate when what I really meant was that I was no longer willing to wait. The seduction of the Lucky Seven is not primarily the seduction of sex, though the earlier scene of nearly unbroken waiting makes clear that the body is part of the calculation. The deeper seduction is the seduction of simplicity. A 10-minute ceremony, a borrowed bucket of ice for the champagne, a morning flight home if they choose, or a few more days in the neon if they do not. Compared with the accumulating debts that might qualify them for foreign aid, compared with the crystal room that may or may not hold 150 people at $17.50 a plate, the chapel at 4:30 in the morning looks like mercy. I have felt that mercy offered by other cities, other midnights, other decisions that promised to cut through complexity with a single irreversible act. Sometimes the act was wise. Sometimes it was only the temporary relief of no longer having to hold the complexity in mind. Anne's final position in this section is the one that haunts me. She will not come. She will not stand behind her daughter with a dopey smile while some deacon performs a ceremony at an hour when most people are asleep. The refusal is absolute, and it is also the purest expression of her love as she understands it. To attend would be to endorse the abandonment of everything she has worked to build. To refuse is to force her daughter to feel the full weight of the choice. I have been on both sides of that refusal. I have been the child who proceeded anyway, and I have been the adult who could not bring myself to witness a decision I believed was a mistake. Neither position is comfortable. Both are forms of care that look from the outside like abandonment. The composite allows us to sit inside the hotel room after the phone call ends. The silence that follows is not written, but it is palpable. Barbara and Mark are left with the knowledge that the escape they are contemplating will cost them the visible approval of the person whose approval has structured so much of their planning. The cards are still on the table. The joker is still face up. Outside the window, the neon continues its indifferent cycle of color and darkness. I think of all the hotel rooms in which I have sat after a difficult telephone conversation, listening to the air conditioning and trying to decide whether the future I had just defended was the one I actually wanted or merely the one I was no longer willing to postpone. The Lucky Seven temptation is not finally about a chapel. It is about the moment when the weight of waiting becomes heavier than the risk of leaping, and when the leap itself begins to look like the only adult action left. In the years since I first encountered these episodes, I have returned to this sequence whenever I needed to remember that the desire for a simpler ceremony is rarely only about the ceremony. It is about the desire to reclaim authorship over a story that has been co-written by too many hands. Barbara's declaration that she is making a decision without looking over her shoulder is the sound of that authorship being seized. Whether the seizure will hold, whether the family will arrive in time to complicate it further, whether the 4:30 ceremony will actually take place, these questions belong to later parts. What belongs here is the precise temperature of the temptation itself, warm, neon-lit, slightly reckless, and more honest than the months of planning that preceded it. I can still feel the cards in my own hands when I read the scene. I can still hear the particular quality of the silence that follows the phone call. And I can still recognize in Barbara's voice the exact pitch of a young woman who has decided that fate for once will be something she chooses rather than something she endures. There is a particular frequency at which a mother's voice travels through a telephone line when she is trying to hold a future in place from hundreds of miles away. I have heard that frequency in my own life more times than I can count. And I hear it again in every phone call Anne Romano makes during the Las Vegas sequences of the composite. The distance is not merely geographic. It is the distance between a woman who has spent years assembling the public proof of her family's recovery and a daughter who has begun to experience that assembly as a form of captivity. Anne does not shout across the miles. She calculates. She revises room capacities. She cancels and reinstates. She delivers moral verdicts with the calm of someone who believes the telephone itself is an extension of her living room. The grip is long distance, but it is not loose. When the first call comes, Barbara is already inside the hotel room that smells of residual smoke and industrial detergent and the faint metallic coolness of air conditioning set too high. Anne's voice arrives with news of the Crystal Room, the question of whether 150 people can be squeezed without looking squeezed, the unspoken expectation that her daughter will continue to participate in the planning as if the planning were still the central fact of her life. I can feel Barbara's body language, even though the script does not describe it, the slight turning away from the receiver, the glance toward Mark, the awareness that every answer she gives is being measured against a standard she is no longer certain she accepts. Maternal control in this period of American sitcom history is rarely portrayed as simple villainy. It is portrayed as love that has forgotten how to distinguish itself from management. Anne's management has kept the family solvent, visible and relatively intact after divorce. The same management now threatens to turn her daughter's wedding into another demonstration of that competence. I remember the summer I tried to make a large decision while living in a different city from my mother. The telephone became a tether that tightened whenever the decision began to lean away from the one she preferred. Her questions were practical. Have you thought about the cost? Have you considered how this will look? Do you realize what you are asking the rest of us to adjust? Each question was reasonable. Taken together they formed a net. Anne's questions about the Skylark Room versus the Crystal Room function in exactly this way. On the surface, they are about square footage and house bands and the aesthetics of an older downtown hotel. Underneath they are about whether Barbara is still willing to let her mother author the most public chapter of her early adulthood. When Barbara finally says that she wishes once in a while her opinion would be listened to, the line is quiet, almost polite, and therefore more devastating than a slam of the receiver would have been. Polite resistance is the only form of resistance many adult children can afford when the parent on the other end of the line still controls significant emotional real estate. The second major call, the one in which Anne learns of the Lucky 7 plan, is the moment the grip reveals its true strength. She has been doing fast figuring. The phrase itself is perfect. Anne does not receive news. She processes it, runs the numbers, arrives at a moral sum and delivers the total with the authority of someone who has never doubted her right to keep the books. The laughter that greets her disbelief is the laughter of an audience that recognizes the archetypal scene. The parent discovering the child's private revision of the family script, yet the laughter does not last. Anne moves from mockery of the chapel's name to the declaration that Barbara is a childish, inconsiderate brat, to the withdrawal of her presence, to the raw accounting of her own labor. She has worked her fingers to the bone. She has banged her head against a wall. The wall, it is implied, is her daughter's sudden claim to independent authorship. What the composite understands and what most conventional reviews of the series miss is that Anne's anger is inseparable from her terror. The big wedding was never only about Barbara. It was about the visible evidence that Anne's years of single motherhood had produced a legitimate, celebrated, properly staged outcome. A 4:30 in the morning ceremony in a chapel that shares its name with a convenience store offers no such evidence. It offers only the private fact of two people deciding they do not need the supporting apparatus. For a woman who has spent the previous decade proving that a divorced mother could still deliver stability and respectability, the Lucky 7 reads as a public undoing. I have watched similar undoing in families where the adult child's modest rebellion was experienced by the parent as total erasure. The parent is not wrong to feel the loss, the child is not wrong to need the space. The telephone line simply makes the collision more intimate and more unavoidable. Schneider's interruptions during these calls function as a kind of comic Greek chorus, but they also reveal the secondary structure of control that operates inside the household. He offers the lodge. He comments on formule attire. He later declares that at least the young couple had the sense to make it legal. Each intervention is an attempt to keep the crisis inside the known hierarchy of the apartment building where he still has a speaking role. When Anne's voice on the telephone overrides those attempts, Schneider is left temporarily without a function. I have known men who occupied similar positions in extended families: the bachelor uncle, the long-term neighbor, the man who became honorary family because no one else was consistently present. Their jokes are the currency with which they purchase continued inclusion. When the central mother-daughter negotiation intensifies, the currency loses value. Schneider's increasingly elaborate performances in these scenes are the sound of a man trying to remain relevant while the real power is being exercised across state lines by a woman who does not need his permission. The long-distance quality of Anne's grip is what gives these sequences their particular ache. If she were in the next room, the conflict would be physical, interruptible, subject to the ordinary negotiations of shared space. Across the telephone, it becomes pure voice, pure accounting. Barbara cannot see her mother's face. She can only hear the calibrated disappointment. Mark cannot intercede effectively because he is still in Anne's moral universe. The outsider who has tempted her daughter away from the plan. The miles between Indianapolis and Las Vegas become an amplifier. Every pause on the line is longer. Every judgment arrives with the force of something that cannot be immediately softened by a hand on the shoulder or a change of subject. I have sat in hotel rooms listening to that amplified judgment. The air conditioning continues its indifferent cycle. The neon outside continues its indifferent cycle. The voice on the telephone continues to revise the future as if the future were still a document she alone had the right to edit. There is a moment in the composite when Anne, having declared that she will not attend, is still somehow present in the room. Her absence becomes a form of presence. Barbara and Mark must now decide whether the ceremony is worth the visible withdrawal of the person who has been its primary architect. The question is never only about one wedding. It is about the larger pattern of how much authorship an adult child is allowed to claim before the claim is experienced as betrayal. Anne's generation of television mothers were rarely given the language of control. They were given the language of care. The composite allows us to hear how easily the two languages can occupy the same sentences. When Anne says she has worked her fingers to the bone, she is telling the truth. When she uses that truth as a lever to return the wedding to its original form, she is also telling a truth about power. I think of the physical telephone of the early 1980s, the weight of the receiver, the coiled cord that limited how far you could walk while arguing the way the plastic grew warm against the ear during a long call. Barbara would have felt that warmth. She would have felt the cord tugging whenever she tried to turn toward Mark for silent consultation. The technology itself enforced a kind of intimacy that modern devices have diluted. You could not mute Anne. You could not switch to text. You could only listen, answer, or hang up. Hanging up was always available and almost never chosen because hanging up conceded the very independence the call was testing. The grip remained. What the sequence ultimately reveals is that maternal control across state lines is never only about the mother. It is about the residual belief shared by both generations that the big public ritual still carries the power to authorize a life. Anne believes the crystal room will make the marriage real in the eyes of the community that watched her divorce. Barbara begins to suspect that the marriage will be real only to the extent that she and Mark choose it without the supporting spectacle. The telephone line becomes the site where these two theories of legitimacy collide. Neither theory is dismissed by the script, both are allowed to hurt. I have returned to these phone calls whenever I needed to remember the exact sound of love refusing to release its claim on the future. Anne's voice does not grow softer with distance, it grows clearer. The miles do not weaken the grip, they purify it into pure intention. By the time the call ends, and Barbara is left staring at a silent receiver, the long-distance maternal will has already done its work. It has forced the young couple to experience their private decision as a public rupture. It has made the lucky seven feel simultaneously like freedom and like exile. And it has reminded everyone listening in 1982 and in every year since that some forms of care are indistinguishable from the refusal to let go. The neon continues outside the window. The air conditioning continues its low mechanical prayer. Somewhere in Indianapolis, a mother sits with the telephone still warm in her hand, already calculating the next move in a contest she does not experience as a contest at all. She experiences it as the continued labor of keeping her family visible, respectable, and intact. The fact that her daughter has begun to experience the same labor as a form of erasure is the quiet tragedy that the composite refuses to resolve too quickly. The grip holds. The distance holds. The conversation is only beginning. I have spent more hours than I can justify thinking about the particular loneliness that lives inside men who have made themselves necessary to other people's households without ever quite belonging to them. Dwayne Schneider is the purest television embodiment of that condition, I know. In the composite, he enters the Las Vegas material already performing the role that has kept him adjacent to the Romano family for years, the man with the joke ready, the man with the impractical suggestion, the man who will stand in the doorway and narrate the crisis as if narration itself were a form of participation. When he offers the lodge and its Mickey Spillane room and its jello mold shaped like Dolly Parton, the studio audience laughs and the laughter is earned. Yet underneath the laugh is the quieter fact that Schneider has just tried to relocate the entire emotional and financial emergency of the wedding into a space he controls. The lodge is not only cheaper, it is his. The cold cuts and the $3.50 price and the soup and juice are the currency with which he attempts to purchase continued relevance. I have watched men make the same attempt with baseball tickets with borrowed tools, with stories that grow longer each time they are told. The attempt is rarely successful for long. The laughter that greets it is both reward and dismissal. Schneider's warnings about Las Vegas itself are delivered with the exaggerated moral panic of a man who has rarely left the radius of the apartment building. Red velour wallpaper, Midwestern glands, paintings of nubile women feeding skinless grapes to supine men. The desert exists because no one ever leaves their rooms to water anything. The lines are pure sitcom construction, broad and rhythmic and designed to land on the back wall of the studio. When I hear them now, I do not hear only the joke. I hear the fear of a man whose entire social identity is tied to a single building and a single family that does not legally include him. Las Vegas represents a zone in which the hierarchy he understands, and at the center the girls in various stages of rebellion. Schneider as comic satellite might simply dissolve. If Barbara and Mark can rewrite the wedding without him, they can rewrite the household without him. The grapes and the supine men are not really about sex. They are about the terror of being left outside the story. I knew a man like Schneider when I was young. He was the long-term boarder in my grandmother's house, the one who fixed the gutters and told elaborate stories about his Navy days, and who became most vivid when a crisis allowed him to perform competence or concern. His jokes were the only language he had been given for expressing attachment. When the family made a decision without consulting him, the jokes grew louder and more baroque, as if volume could compensate for exclusion. Schneider's performances in the composite follow the same pattern. The more the central conflict tightens around Anne and Barbara and the telephone line, the more elaborate his interruptions become. He arrives with advice about formal attire: the double-breasted mohair with satin lapels versus the single-breasted wool worsted with brocade, as if the real emergency were one of fabric rather than of allegiance. When Barbara snaps that she will paint her fanny green and go naked, the line is meant to shut him down. It does not. It only confirms that his currency is losing value in the new economy of the crisis. What the composite understands with unusual clarity is that Schneider's buffoonery is a form of witnessing. He is present for the phone calls. He is present for the aftermath. He is present when the family begins to gather in Las Vegas and the tone shifts from private rebellion to collective negotiation. His presence is rarely decisive, it is atmospheric. He is the man who will still be standing in the doorway when the shouting is over, ready with a toast to Bugsy Siegel, or a theory about men who wear bow ties at the craps table. The theories are ridiculous. The need underneath them is not. Schneider has organized his adult life around the premise that if he is consistently amusing, consistently available, and consistently just outside the central circle, he will not be asked to leave. The Las Vegas material tests that premise more severely than most episodes. A wedding that does not require the apartment building also does not require its superintendent. There is a moment in the composite when Schneider declares that at least the young couple had the common sense to make it legal. The line is tossed off as a joke about itchy hormones and the 7.5-week wait, yet it carries the full weight of his class and generational position. Legality is the minimum threshold of seriousness for a man who has watched the Romano family survive divorce and scarcity by adhering to visible forms. An illegal or merely informal arrangement would place the marriage outside the only system of value he trusts. His relief that they are still inside that system is genuine, so is his disappointment that the system no longer requires his particular services to function. I have heard the same mixture of relief and disappointment in the voices of men who discovered that the young people they had appointed themselves to advise had managed to authorize their own lives without the advice. The loneliness that drives the performance is never named by the script, and that is its power. Schneider does not soliloquize about isolation. He simply increases the volume and complexity of his act whenever isolation threatens. The Bugsy Siegel toast is the purest example. In the middle of a family argument about whether the wedding will happen at 4:30 in the morning, Schneider attempts to reframe the entire gathering as a celebration of visionary American reinvention. Bugsy saw blackjack, where others saw cactus. Bugsy saw Shecky and Sammy and Charo. The speech is absurd, digressive, and perfectly in character. It is also a desperate attempt to give the chaotic scene a narrative in which he still has a speaking part. When Anne tells him to shut up, the dismissal is casual and therefore more wounding. He is not even worth a sustained argument, he is background noise that has grown too loud. I return often to the physical comedy of Schneider's body in these scenes, the way he leans into doorways, the way he uses props, the imaginary formalware, the chips at the craps table, the later disguise when the brownie panic begins. Physical comedy in the series is rarely only physical. It is the externalization of a man who has learned that his body in motion is more welcome than his body at rest. A still Schneider might have to be accounted for. A moving, joking, theorizing Schneider can be laughed at and therefore retained. The composite allows us to watch the strategy both succeed and fail in the same sequences. He is still there at the end of the family confrontation. He is also more alone than when he entered. The class dimension of his position is worth lingering over. Schneider is the building superintendent in a world of people who are trying to rise or at least to stabilize after economic and marital disruption. His knowledge is practical, local, and slightly outdated. The lodge, the cold cuts, the jello mold, these are the aesthetics of a man whose idea of celebration has not been revised by the upward aspirations of the Romano women. When Anne insists on the crystal room and Barbara begins to imagine something even further outside the known hierarchy, Schneider is left defending a version of festivity that both women have already outgrown. His defense is comic because it is hopeless. It is also the sound of a man watching the only social world he fully understands begin to reorganize itself without a role for him. I think of the nights I have spent in the company of similar men, the ones who stayed late after the family dinner, the ones who had one more story, the ones who offered to drive someone to the airport even though the airport was in the opposite direction of their home. Their generosity was real, so was the fear that if they ever stopped performing usefulness they would become invisible. Schneider's entire arc in the early Vegas material is a sustained performance of usefulness in a situation that does not require it. The performance grows more inventive as its necessity decreases. That inverse relationship is the quiet engine of his comedy and of his pathos. By the time the family begins to gather in the hotel and the conflict shifts from telephone line to shared physical space, Schneider has already been demoted from potential solution to colorful commentary. He will continue to provide commentary for the rest of the composite. He will develop theories about bow ties and popsicles and dirty money. He will later panic about Brownie and attempt to disappear inside disguises. Each of these developments grows from the loneliness that is already fully present in the early scenes. The buffoon is the witness who has never been invited to stop witnessing and simply belong. The composite does not ask us to pity him. It asks us to notice the cost of the performance and to recognize how often we have laughed at versions of it in our own lives without pausing to consider what the laughter permits us not to see. The neon of Las Vegas does not care about Schneider. The craps tables do not care. The Lucky 7 wedding chapel does not keep a seat for the building superintendent from Indianapolis. He is present anyway because presence is the only strategy he has ever trusted. I watch him lean into another doorway ready with another theory, and I am back in my grandmother's kitchen listening to the boarder tell one more story while the family made plans that did not include him. The story was funny. The loneliness underneath it was not. Schneider's gift to the composite is that he makes both things visible at the same time without ever asking the audience to choose between them. The laughter continues. The performance continues. The man inside the performance continues to wait for a moment when the waiting itself might be enough. I have never witnessed a family arrive in a city that did not want them without feeling the air itself thicken. In the composite, the arrival begins with Max in an airline uniform holding no champagne, with Julie's quick inventory of her sister's face, with Anne's declaration that she will be present at her daughter's wedding no matter where the hell it is, and with Alex already half asleep against a wall. Because the flight was long, and the hour is impossible. The neon of Las Vegas does not pause to accommodate them. The city continues its indifferent cycle of light and commerce while the Romano-Horvath-Royer constellation reasserts its claim on a story that had briefly tried to become private. What follows is not a reunion. It is an occupation. The script gives us the moment in fragments the way memory itself fragments under pressure. Max is mistaken for the champagne delivery. Julie catalogs the weirdos Barbara used to date and calls them the Dirty Dozen. Anne has not yet been told that the ceremony is off, or that it was ever fully on, or that the emotional temperature of the room has already shifted several times since the last phone call. Schneider attempts a toast to Bugsy Siegel and is told to shut up. The overlapping dialogue. The interrupted confessions, the sudden appearance of more bodies than the hotel room was prepared to hold, all of it recreates the precise sensation of a private decision being publicly repossessed. I have stood in rooms where the same repossession occurred. The decision had been made in the quiet of a different city. Then the family arrived and the decision had to be remade in front of witnesses who loved you too much to let you escape cleanly. Anne's entrance is the gravitational center. She has come to stop a wedding and to attend one at the same time. The contradiction does not trouble her because both actions spring from the same root, the refusal to allow her daughter's life to become illegible to her. When she says she certainly should be at her daughter's wedding no matter where the hell it is, the line carries both devotion and threat. Presence itself becomes a form of veto power. I have heard versions of that sentence from my own mother and from the mothers of people I loved. The sentence always sounds like love. It always functions as boundary enforcement. Anne does not need to forbid the Lucky Seven ceremony outright in this moment. Her body in the room is the forbiddance. The 4:30 in the morning plan, already fragile, begins to dissolve under the simple pressure of being looked at by the person who had been excluded from its authorship. Julie and Max bring a different frequency. They are the couple who already married in a park between a baseball diamond and a horseshoe pit. Their presence is living evidence that a non-traditional ceremony is survivable. Yet they do not arrive as allies in rebellion. They arrive as family, which means they arrive with their own inventory of judgments, memories, and competing needs. Julie's teasing about Barbara's old boyfriends is affectionate and territorial at once. She is reminding her sister that the past is still jointly owned. Max's mild confusion and his airline uniform add the slight absurdity that keeps the scene from tipping into pure confrontation. Together they expand the emotional surface area of the crisis. What had been a two-person negotiation with telephone interruptions becomes a full ecological system of gazes, histories, and unspoken comparisons. Alex's exhausted presence is the detail that aches most when I return to the sequence. He is a child who has been brought along because children are brought along because the alternative was leaving him behind in a different time zone, because family invasions do not pause to consider whether every member is prepared for the bottom about of the seventh hour or the stakes. He sleeps against the wall while the adults perform their versions of care and control. I think of all the children I have seen asleep on coats at the edges of adult emergencies, the weddings that almost didn't happen, the funerals that turned into arguments, the holiday dinners that fractured over old wounds. Their sleep is not peace. It is the body's refusal to continue processing more information than it can hold. Alex's quiet body in the corner of the hotel room is the composite's reminder that every family performance has an audience that did not choose to attend. Schneider's role shifts again with the arrival of the full clan. He is no longer the sole comic witness, he is one voice among many, and the competition for airtime intensifies his performances. The Bugsy Siegel toast is an attempt to impose a grand narrative on a scene that is actively resisting narrative coherence. Bugsy saw possibility where others saw wasteland. The analogy is meant to elevate the gathering into a story of American reinvention. Instead, it exposes Schneider's need to be the one who names what is happening. When Anne cuts him off, the cut is casual and therefore complete. In a room now dense with primary relationships, mother and daughter, sisters, spouses, the child, the honorary member's commentary becomes optional. I have watched the same demotion happen to men who had been central to a household's daily comedy and who discovered in a moment of real crisis that they were secondary. The discovery does not make them leave, it makes them louder. The hotel room itself becomes a character under the pressure of so many bodies. These rooms were never designed for family councils. They were designed for transient couples, for salesmen, for the brief anonymity that Las Vegas sells alongside the chance of fortune. The invasion converts the space into something closer to the Indianapolis apartment, only without the familiar furniture that usually absorbs the shock of argument. There is nowhere to retreat. The bathroom door is the only temporary border, and even that border is porous. Arguments spill. Toasts compete with counter-toasts. The champagne that finally appears is already inadequate to the emotional volume of the room. I can feel the heat of too many people in a space meant for two. I can hear the way voices rise to be heard over other voices that are also rising. The neon outside continues its cycle. Indifferent to the fact that a Midwestern family has just imported its entire unfinished business into a city that specializes in unfinished business of a different kind. What the sequence captures with painful accuracy is the speed with which a private rebellion becomes a collective negotiation. Barbara and Mark had begun to author a version of their future that required only their own consent. The family's arrival reintroduces the requirement of consent from people who were never going to give it freely. Anne's presence alone recalibrates the moral mathematics of the room. Julie's presence adds the complexity of sibling history. Alex's presence adds the complication of a child who will carry whatever decision is made into a future the adults cannot fully see. Schneider's presence adds the reminder that even the people who do not legally belong still feel the tremors. The elopement plan does not die in a single declaration. It dies by inches under the accumulated weight of people who love Barbara too much to let her disappear into a story they cannot supervise. I remember a night in a different city when my own extended family performed a similar invasion. The decision under discussion was smaller than a wedding and larger than any single night could resolve. Bodies filled a room that had been an hour earlier almost quiet. Voices that had been reasonable on the telephone became operatic in person. Someone made a toast that was really a plea for narrative control. Someone else fell asleep in a chair because the hour was impossible. I stood near a window and watched the lights of the city continue their indifferent work while the people I loved most tried to force a collective future out of a set of private and incompatible needs. The feeling was not hatred. It was the denser and more exhausting emotion that comes when love refuses to travel lightly. That is the feeling the composite recreates in the Las Vegas hotel room. The clan has gathered. The neon has not consented. The story that was trying to become simple has been successfully recomplexified. By the time the arguments about rationality and apple cores and who ruined whose childhood begin to surface, the invasion is complete. The hotel room has been converted into a temporary branch of the Indianapolis household. All the old roles are available again: the mother who manages the daughter who resists, the sister who mediates and scores points, the child who absorbs, the man who jokes because joking is the only form of prayer he trusts. The Lucky 7 wedding chapel still exists somewhere out in the neon. It has not been cancelled by any formal action. It has simply been rendered implausible by the presence of too many witnesses. Family invasion does not always forbid. Sometimes it merely makes the forbidden action feel lonely in a way that can no longer be borne. I leave the sequence with the image of Alex asleep against the wall and Anne standing in the center of a room that has become too small for the history it now contains. The neon continues. The air conditioning continues. The clan, having successfully arrived, must now decide what to do with the victory of its own presence. The answer will not be simple. It will not be quick. It will require the rest of the night and most of the emotional resources the family has left. That is what invasion costs. That is what the composite refuses to prettify. The city of chance has been forced to host a gathering that does not believe in chance at all. It believes in showing up, and showing up in this family has never been a neutral act. There is a particular quality of hour that exists only in the space between intention and action, when a decision has been made but not yet performed and the body is still free to invent reasons for delay. 4:30 in the morning at the Lucky 7 Wedding Chapel occupies exactly that space in the composite. The script brings us into the hour through Mark's failure to reset his watch, through Barbara's half-sleep and sudden panic, through the absence of Julie and Max, through the gradual realization that the ceremony they had treated as both escape and fate is now arriving with the ordinary weight of an appointment that might actually be kept. I have lived inside similar hours. The clock moves, the plan remains. The self that made the plan begins to feel like a slightly different person from the self that must now execute it. Barbara's first coherent question is about the missing witnesses. She had expected her sister and her sister's husband. Their absence is explained by the time zone error, the kind of small administrative failure that becomes, in the heightened atmosphere of an almost elopement, evidence of larger cosmic indifference. The chapel does not care that the supporting cast has not arrived. The neon outside does not care. The desert that surrounds the city does not care. Only Barbara and Mark are required to care, and their caring is already beginning to fracture under the pressure of the hour. When Mark offers to call and cancel, the offer is gentle and therefore dangerous. It opens a door that Barbara is not yet certain she wants to walk through. I have made the same offer to people I loved at similar hours. The offer is never only practical. It is a way of asking whether the courage that felt abundant at midnight still exists at 4:30. The dialogue that follows is among the most precise in the entire composite. Barbara does not announce a change of heart. She circles it. She asks what Mark thinks. She confesses the feeling that the plan is either the greatest idea in the world or the craziest. She admits to apprehension while trying to frame the admission as ordinary. Mark answers with the steady affection of a man who has already decided that any version of the future with her is acceptable. He would marry her 30 feet underwater. The line is romantic and also a form of surrender. He will not be the one who withdraws the possibility. If the ceremony is to be abandoned, she must be the one to abandon it. The composite understands that this distribution of responsibility is itself a form of intimacy. One person holds the door open. The other decides whether to walk through. What surfaces in the quiet of the hour is the photograph album Barbara has been carrying in her mind. She has always wanted the big pictures, the couple climbing into a car with shoes and a sign, the cake being fed, the bouquet thrown to actual friends rather than to 3 hookers and a stand-up comic. The vision is conventional and therefore easy to dismiss as superficial. The composite does not dismiss it. It treats the desire for the public ritual as a legitimate form of self-knowledge. Barbara is not rejecting the Lucky 7 because she has been bullied back into compliance. She is discovering in the last possible hour that the escape she had framed as freedom was also a way of avoiding the very visibility she had claimed to want. The big wedding is not only Anne's project, it is also the stage on which Barbara has imagined herself becoming legible as an adult to the people who have known her since childhood. I remember a dawn decision of my own that followed a similar arc. The plan had been made in the heat of a previous night's clarity. The hour of execution arrived with a different weather system entirely. What I had called courage began to feel like a refusal to let the people who loved me participate in the authorizing of my life. The private ceremony began to look less like integrity and more like a sophisticated form of hiding. I did not have a Lucky 7 wedding chapel. I had a different kind of threshold. The feeling of standing on it while the sky changed color is one I still carry. Barbara's voice in the hotel room at 4:30 carries the same mixture of relief and loss. The relief of no longer having to perform a rebellion that has begun to feel hollow. The loss of the version of herself that had been willing to disappoint everyone in order to claim a single clean action. The arrival of Julie and Max and then of Anne and the rest of the clan converts the private hour into a public one before the cancellation is fully complete. The ceremony is not called off in a single declarative sentence. It is allowed to become impossible under the accumulated gaze of the people who would have had to live with its consequences. Anne's presence alone is enough to recalibrate the moral air of the room. The 4:30 plan, which had looked like autonomy when the only witnesses were Mark and the imagined deacon, looks different when the actual mother is standing there with her own history of labor and hope. The composite does not require Anne to forbid the wedding a second time. The family invasion has already performed the forbidding by making solitude unavailable. There is a moment when Barbara says she was ready to call the ceremony off until her mother told her to call it off. The line is pure psychological accuracy. Opposition can convert a fragile preference into a fortified position. Anne's earlier refusal to attend had the paradoxical effect of making the lucky seven feel more necessary. Once Anne is physically present and the opposition softens into something more complex, the necessity evaporates. Barbara is free to admit that the big traditional wedding is what she has actually wanted all along. The admission is not a defeat. It is the first moment in the sequence when her desire and her mother's desire are allowed to occupy the same sentence without one having to destroy the other. Mark's response to the shift is quiet and complete. He does not mourn the lost adventure. He does not punish Barbara for the hours of adrenaline and planning that are now being set aside. He simply adjusts. The man who would have married her underwater will also marry her in the Crystal Room or the Skylark Room or whatever version of public legitimacy they eventually settle on. His flexibility is a form of strength that the composite does not underline with speech. It simply lets his acceptance exist as the ground on which Barbara's more visible struggle can resolve. I have been the flexible one in similar hours. I have also been the one who needed the other person's flexibility in order to change direction without losing face. Both positions require a kind of generosity that is rarely celebrated because it looks from the outside like passivity. The weight of the words "I do" hovers over the entire sequence even though they are never spoken in the chapel. The composite understands that the power of those words does not reside only in their legal or religious force. It resides in the decision to say them in front of whatever circle of witnesses one has chosen. The Lucky Seven would have offered a minimal circle. The Indianapolis wedding will offer a maximal one. Barbara's journey through the 4:30 hour is the journey of realizing that the maximal circle is not only her mother's need, it is also her own. The photographs she has imagined are not trivial. They are the way she has pictured herself entering the visible record of her family's survival. To abandon them at the last moment would have been to abandon a version of continuity that still matters to her. I think of the physical details. The script only implies the thin light that must have been starting to gather at the edges of the neon, the sound of the city that never fully sleeps, the particular exhaustion that arrives when adrenaline has been sustained across too many hours. Barbara and Mark are not only deciding about a ceremony, they are deciding who they are willing to be when the sun comes up and the temporary amnesty of the night is over. The chapel that almost was becomes, in its very almostness, a clarifying device. By coming so close to the private action, they are able to discover the precise shape of the public one they still want. The cancellation is not staged as a triumph of traditional values. It is staged as a moment of self-recognition under pressure. Barbara does not return to the big wedding because she has been defeated. She returns because the alternative has finally been examined closely enough to reveal its own costs. The cost was not only Anne's disappointment, the cost was the loss of the picture album, the loss of the friends who would have been present, the loss of the particular form of legibility that a public ritual still conferred in 1982. The composite allows that cost to be real without requiring the private ceremony to be framed as immature. Both options carried truth. The hour of 4:30 simply made one of them more visible than it had been in the heat of the earlier rebellion. When I return to this sequence, I am returned as well to every threshold hour. I have known the hours when a plan that had felt like freedom began to feel like a different kind of confinement, and the only way forward was to admit that the original desire had been more complicated than the rebellion. Against it, the Lucky 7 wedding chapel remains open somewhere in the neon. Other couples are saying their versions of I do under its roof. Barbara and Mark will not be among them. Their I do will be said later under different light in front of a larger circle with all the messy history of this night still attached to it. The weight of the words will not be less for the delay. If anything, the almost ceremony has added a layer of chosenness that a smoother path would have lacked. They know now what they are not choosing. That knowledge will travel with them into whatever version of the public ritual they eventually inhabit. The city of Las Vegas continues its work around the hotel room. The neon does not record the decision. The desert does not record it. Only the people in the room will carry it forward along with the residual adrenaline and the complicated gratitude of having been allowed to come so close to an alternate life that they could finally see the shape of the one they still wanted. 4:30 in the morning has done its work. The chapel that almost was has become the clarifying shadow against which the real ceremony will be measured. I can still feel the hour when I read the lines. I can still hear the particular silence that follows a decision to step back from the edge. And I can still recognize in Barbara's quiet reclaiming of the big wedding the sound of a person choosing the more difficult visibility over the cleaner escape. The weight of I do was never going to be light. The night has simply taught them how to carry it. I have watched the slow theft of hearing in more than one man I loved, and each time the theft began not with silence but with a slightly longer pause before the response, a request to repeat that was laughed off as distraction, a joke that arrived half a beat late. In the composite, the theft announces itself through a tea kettle. The whistle is blowing. Schneider does not move. The child notices first, as children often do, because children have not yet learned the adult skill of pretending not to see what would require action. When the observation is made aloud, Schneider's defense is immediate and absolute. He hears the kettle. He has 20 years. The body is a perfect automobile that does not require an overhaul simply because a bird has left a mark on the windshield. The metaphors are comic and therefore safe. They allow him to remain the man who explains the world to others rather than the man who must now be explained to himself. The early 1980s still treated hearing loss in men of Schneider's age and class as a private embarrassment rather than a medical condition worthy of open management. A hearing aid was not yet the small discreet device of later decades. It was the plastic lima bean, the visible declaration that the wearer had begun to fall out of the shared sonic world. Schneider's horror at the prospect is not vanity alone. It is the terror of a man whose entire social strategy has depended on being the one who hears everything, who arrives with the timely joke, who positions himself in doorways at the exact moment his commentary will be most useful. To wear the lima bean is to announce that the strategy has failed. To refuse it is to begin the long practice of smiling and nodding and hoping the context will supply what the ears no longer deliver. I have seen both choices made, neither is clean. When the family begins to test him deliberately soft words, the question about the hook that he hears as book, the comedy is sharp because the cruelty is mild and the stakes are not. They are trying to help. Help in this household has always arrived in the form of confrontation mixed with affection. Schneider experiences the tests as character assassination and personality deprivation. The language is excessive and therefore revealing. What is being assassinated is not his character but the fiction of intact competence he has performed for years. The building superintendent who can fix the boiler and the elevator and the minor crises of the tenants must also be the man who can hear a tea kettle. If he cannot hear the kettle, the rest of the competence becomes suspect. The composite understands that for a man like Schneider the body is not a private possession. It is the instrument through which he remains necessary. I think of my uncle's hands when the same theft began in him. He had been the one who heard the car engine's slight change in pitch, the one who could diagnose a problem by sound alone. When the high frequencies disappeared, he began to withdraw from conversations that took place in rooms with competing noise, the television, the dishwasher, the overlapping voices of a family gathering. He did not announce the withdrawal, he simply appeared less often. Schneider's version of the same withdrawal is louder and more theatrical because the series requires him to remain visible. He escalates. He accuses. He performs outrage so that no one will notice the fear underneath. The performance is exhausting to watch because it is so clearly exhausting to maintain. The consultation with the doctor reported secondhand and then confirmed brings the medical options into the living room like unwelcome guests, the hearing aid. The surgery that involves cutting the ear open and inserting a wire in the hope that something more than police calls will be received. The 1% chance of losing what hearing remains. Schneider's response to the risk is the most honest moment in the sequence. He asks Anne whether she would take that chance. He lists the sounds that would be lost forever: the honk of a goose leaving the frigid north, the plunk of a 7 to 10 split, the soft murmur of a feminine voice saying "Thank you, Mr. Wonderful." The list is comic in its specificity and devastating in its implication. These are not random sounds. They are the sonic markers of a life that has been organized around small public pleasures and the hope of romantic return. To lose them is to lose the evidence that the life has been worth performing. Anne's practical compassion in these scenes is the same compassion she has always offered the people who orbit her household. She will not indulge the denial, but she will also not abandon the denier. She has watched her own mother's hearing recovered through surgery. She believes in the possible restoration of the shared world. Her insistence that Schneider get a second opinion and consider the operation is the form love takes when it has decided that comfort is less important than continued connection. I have been the recipient of that form of love. I have also been the one who offered it. It is rarely appreciated in the moment it arrives. It feels like pressure. Only later does it reveal itself as the refusal to let someone drift out of the audible circle without a fight. The ambulance sequence is the moment the private medical fact becomes a public safety issue. Schneider does not hear the siren. He swerves, stops in 30 feet instead of 20, attributes the entire event to a man watering his lawn. The laughter that the script expects is the laughter of recognition, the near miss that becomes a story. Underneath the laughter is the colder knowledge that the next near miss may not be near. Anne's decision to keep Alex out of Schneider's car is the first formal boundary the hearing loss has required. It is also the moment Schneider is forced to experience his condition as something that affects other people's trust in him. The building superintendent, who was once the reliable extra driver, is now a liability. The demotion is quiet and absolute. I have watched older men absorb similar demotions. The car keys gently relocated, the grandchild's sleepover redirected. The casual offer to drive withdrawn without discussion. Each instance is minor, the accumulation is a form of exile. What the composite captures with unusual tenderness is the way Schneider's loneliness and his hearing loss begin to feed each other. The man who already stood slightly outside the central family circle now faces the prospect of standing further outside the circle of ordinary conversation. The jokes that have been his primary form of participation will become harder to time. The doorway commentaries will arrive after the moment has passed. The risk is not only medical, it is social death by slow degrees. His temporary preference for the third option, smiling, looking wise, reading lips, is the fantasy of remaining inside the social world without admitting the cost of the ticket. I have seen that fantasy sustained for years by people who preferred the constant low-level strain of pretending to the visible admission of need. The strain is invisible only to those who are not performing it. The cultural context of the early 1980s matters here. Disability was still largely understood as an individual misfortune to be overcome or concealed rather than a social fact requiring adjustment from the surrounding community. Schneider has no language for demanding that the family speak more clearly, face him when they talk, reduce the background noise. He has only the language of denial and then of stoic acceptance of whatever medical intervention he can tolerate. The series, to its credit, does not force him into sudden noble acceptance. It lets him remain difficult, theatrical, self-pitying, and funny. The humanity is in the refusal to tidy the response. I return often to the list of sounds he is afraid to lose. The goose, the bowling pins, the woman's voice. Each one is a small claim on a world that has already begun to recede. The goose is migration and seasons and the natural world that exists beyond the apartment building. The 7 to 10 split is the public leisure of the bowling alley, the place where a man alone can still be part of a temporary collective. The feminine voice is the hope that the performance of charm might still produce a response. To name them aloud is to admit that the self is constituted by what it can hear. When the hearing goes, the self must be rebuilt from other materials. Schneider does not yet know what those materials will be. Neither did the men I watched move through the same narrowing of the sonic world. The slow theft of connection does not announce itself with drama. It announces itself with a tea kettle that only some people can hear, with a joke that lands late, with a child who must be kept out of a car, with a man standing in a doorway, smiling and nodding while the conversation moves on without "Is nation him?" The composite lets us watch the early stages of the theft without offering the comfort of quick resolution. The surgery is scheduled and then postponed by the larger chaos of the family's life. The hearing aid remains an object of horror. The smiling and lip reading remain a temporary strategy. What remains most clearly is the fear that the world will continue to speak and that Schneider will gradually become a spectator at his own life. I have carried that fear for the men I could not keep inside the audible circle. I carry it still when I reread the tea kettle scene, and hear underneath the sitcom rhythms the first small silence that will grow. The family will continue to talk. The building will continue to need its superintendent. The jokes will continue to be expected. And Schneider will continue to stand in the doorway performing the competence that is already beginning to crack, hoping that no one will notice the particular quality of the attention he now requires in order to remain part of the shared world. The theft is slow. That is what makes it so difficult to fight. By the time the silence is undeniable, a portion of the connection has already been spent. The composite does not look away from the spending. It simply lets the tea kettle whistle and lets the man who cannot hear it insist that he can, and lets the rest of us sit with the knowledge of what is coming. Denial in a man like Schneider is never a simple failure of perception. It is a crafted surface, polished daily, designed to reflect every approaching fact back toward the people who carry it. I have watched this surface at work in living rooms and hospital corridors and the front seats of cars that should no longer have been driven. The composite gives us the surface in its purest sitcom form, and somehow through the very purity of the form lets the terror underneath become visible. The tea kettle screams. Schneider does not move. When the discrepancy is named, the armor deploys with the speed of long practice. He heard it. Of course, he heard it. The senses remain perfect. The body is a flawless automobile that requires no overhaul merely because a bird has left a temporary mark on the windshield. The metaphor is ridiculous, and therefore unassailable inside the logic of performance. To challenge it directly is to become the person who cannot take a joke. To accept it is to leave the man alone with the silence he already knows is growing. I remember the particular tone my father used when the same armor was required. It was lighter than anger, heavier than banter, and it carried the absolute prohibition against further inquiry. Questions about missed doorbells or unanswered telephones were met with stories about concentration, about the superior focus of a man who did not scatter his attention across every trivial sound. The stories were funny. The family laughed. The laughter was the toll exacted for continued peace. Schneider's versions of the same stories are broader because the series requires the broadness, yet the function is identical. The tea kettle becomes proof of the family's overeagerness to find fault. The misheard hook that becomes book becomes evidence of deliberate testing, of character assassination, of a conspiracy to deprive him of personality itself. The language is excessive because the stakes are existential. If the hearing is failing, then the man who has survived by hearing everything, the boiler's first irregularity, the tenant's unspoken need, the exact moment a joke will land, is already partially erased. The ambulance sequence is the armor's most public test and its most revealing success. A siren, a swerve, a stop that takes 30 feet instead of 20. The explanation arrives before anyone can offer a different one: the man watering his lawn, the wet pavement, the ordinary hazards of city driving. Nobody got hurt. It could have happened to anybody. The phrases are the standard issue equipment of denial, and they work well enough to keep the conversation from becoming a formal intervention. What they cannot do is erase the new fact that has entered the household: Alex will no longer ride in that car. Anne's boundary is quiet, practical, and absolute. She does not argue about the quality of Schneider's hearing. She simply removes the child from the risk. The removal is the first consequence that denial cannot joke away. I have watched older men absorb similar removals, the gradual redistribution of driving duties. The unspoken decision that certain trips will be handled by someone else. Each instance is presented as temporary or coincidental. The accumulation is a map of shrinking territory. What the composite understands is that Schneider's armor is not only protection against the knowledge of loss, it is protection against the social consequences of being known to be losing. In the early 1980s, a man of his age and position had limited scripts for disability. He could be stoic, he could be comic, he could be invisible. The comic script is the one Schneider has spent years perfecting, and he is not about to abandon it simply because the body has begun to revise the terms. The plastic lima bean of a hearing aid would move him from the comic script into the visible medical one. The surgery with its 1% chance of taking the remaining hearing would move him into the script of the gambler who might lose everything. Both scripts require an admission he is not prepared to make, so he reaches for the third option. He will smile more. He will look wise, he will read lips. The fantasy is that performance can substitute for perception indefinitely. I have seen the fantasy sustained with remarkable energy. The energy is the most exhausting part to witness. The family's response to the armor is itself a study in the limits of affection. They test him. They confront him. They enlist the authority of Catherine's recovered hearing in the existence of a competent doctor. They do not, however, dismantle the household arrangements that have allowed Schneider to remain both central and peripheral for years. He is still the man in the doorway. He is still the man whose jokes are expected. The armor is permitted to remain in place because removing it would require the family to reorganize its own emotional traffic patterns. It is easier to laugh at the perfect automobile speech than to imagine the daily adjustments that honest acknowledgement would demand. I have been part of families that made the same calculation. The cost of penetrating the armor looked higher than the cost of living around it. Only later did the deferred cost come due, usually in the form of a crisis that could no longer be timed or managed. There is a particular cruelty in the way denial isolates the denier even as it protects him. Every successful deflection teaches the surrounding people that certain topics are expensive. Conversations begin to root around the missing frequencies. Jokes are repeated more carefully or abandoned. The man who once prided himself on hearing everything is now the man who must be faced when speaking, whose television volume is negotiated, whose presence in a noisy room becomes a quiet problem to be solved by others. Schneider is not yet fully inside that isolation in these scenes, but the composite shows us the early architecture of it. The outrage about being tested. The insistence that the senses remain perfect. The rapid conversion of every piece of evidence into proof of the family's unreasonableness. These are not the actions of a man who cannot hear the tea kettle. They are the actions of a man who has heard it clearly and has decided that the hearing is less dangerous than the admission. I think of the physical sensations that accompany this kind of armor. The slight forward tilt of the head. The eyes that watch mouths more carefully than they used to. The laugh that arrives a fraction of a second after everyone else's. Schneider's body in these scenes is already beginning to make the adjustments that his language refuses. The series, constrained by the demands of multi-camera comedy, cannot linger on those micro-adjustments, yet the script leaves space for them. The man who once entered rooms with the full confidence of unrestricted access is entering them now with a new and unacknowledged caution. The caution is the body's truth. The armor is the mouth's attempt to override it. The cultural moment matters. Hearing loss in working men of Schneider's generation was often framed as an inevitable tax on a life of noise, machinery, military service, the general clatter of mid-century American labor. The tax was expected. The public management of the tax was not. A man could grow hard of hearing. He was not supposed to make himself a problem about it. Schneider's entire resistance is shaped by that expectation. To seek help too openly is to become the problem. To refuse help is to remain, at least in his own narrative, the solution. The perfect automobile speech is the purest expression of the bind. The car still runs. Therefore, the car does not need the shop. The fact that the car is already missing entire ranges of information is irrelevant inside the metaphor. Metaphors are chosen precisely because they make certain facts irrelevant. When Anne finally draws the boundary about Alex, the armor experiences its first sustained failure. Schneider cannot joke the child back into the passenger seat. He cannot reframe the siren into a story about lawns and wet pavement strongly enough to restore the previous trust. The loss has become relational. It is no longer only his ears, it is the family's willingness to place their most vulnerable member under his care. The shift is profound and quietly devastating. A man can deny his own body with remarkable success. He cannot permanently deny other people's risk calculations. The composite lets the moment pass without heavy speech. The weight is in the practical outcome. Alex will not be in the car. The armor has protected Schneider's self-image at the cost of a concrete piece of his role in the household. I have sat with men in the aftermath of similar moments. The silence that follows the first formal restriction is different from the silence of ordinary denial. It contains the beginning of grief. Schneider covers the grief with more performance, more jokes, more outrage, more elaborate theories about why the world is unreasonable. The performance is less convincing than it used to be even to him. That slight loss of conviction is the first crack in the armor that the armor itself cannot repair. Everything that follows in his hearing story will grow from this crack: the temporary agreement to see the doctor, the horror at the options, the postponements, the eventual surgery, the complicated return to a world that now contains both restored sound and the memory of having nearly lost it. But those developments belong to later hours. What belongs here is the pure state of the armor while it still believes it can hold. The tea kettle continues to scream in the memory of the scene long after the characters have moved on. The siren continues to approach the intersection. The child continues to be kept out of the car, and Schneider continues to stand inside the only protection he trusts, reflecting every fact back toward the people who bring it, insisting that the reflection is the truth. I recognize the stance. I have taken it myself in smaller ways. I have watched people I love take it in larger ones. The armor works until it does not. The composite with the strange mercy of comedy lets us watch the working and the early signs of the failure at the same time. The laughter is real. The refusal is real. The loss already in motion does not care about either. I have watched older women reach for systems of meaning when the ordinary systems of the household began to fail them, and I have never seen the reach accomplished without a mixture of hunger and performance. Catherine's sudden career as a reader of tarot cards arrives in the composite with the same mixture. She has been bored. She has been useful in ways that no longer feel sufficient. She has looked at the bulletin board in a supermarket and found Countess Zelda, whose real name is Gladys Kesselman and whose farm in Romania was apparently located in Pittsburgh. The details are pure sitcom absurdity, yet the need underneath them is not absurd at all. A woman who has spent decades as mother and grandmother and intermittent authority is trying to author a new chapter in which she possesses knowledge the rest of the family does not. The cards are the instrument. The dangerous comfort of prophecy is the result. When Catherine announces that she is Madame Rachmaninoff, the name itself is a small declaration of war against the ordinary. Rachmaninoff is not a name that belongs in the Indianapolis apartment. It belongs to a version of the self that has stepped outside the family's existing inventory of roles. Anne's skepticism is immediate and practical. Schneider's is louder and more theatrical. Barbara's is curious and slightly willing. The range of responses is the range of ways a family absorbs a member's attempt at reinvention. I have seen the same range activated by everything from sudden religious conversions to late-life artistic careers to the decision to sell the house and buy a boat. The reinvented person is always slightly ridiculous in the eyes of those who knew the previous version. The ridicule is a form of grief. The previous version was known. The new one will require effort. The first readings are tentative and comic. Barbara's present is dominated by the color green, which is declared unlucky. Anne's future contains an argument with someone close. Schneider's past, when he finally consents to be read, produces the childhood of poverty, the navy, the running, and then with the sudden clarity that prophecy requires the name Brownie. The name is the pivot on which the entire sequence turns. Until that moment, the cards have been a mildly embarrassing hobby. After it, they become an instrument that has apparently reached into a locked room of Schneider's history and produced a fact no one in the room should have known. The composite does not waste time on the mechanics of the lucky guess. It simply lets the name land and lets Schneider's body react as if a long-buried alarm has been triggered. I have sat across tables from people who believed the cards or the stars or the tea leaves, or the particular arrangement of numbers on a license plate were speaking directly to their private emergencies. The belief is rarely absolute, it is opportunistic. It becomes strongest at the exact moment when ordinary sources of information have failed or become too frightening to consult. Catherine's cards offer Schneider a language for the fear he has been carrying since the hearing diagnosis and the ambulance and the quiet removal of Alex from his car. The fear needed an object. Brownie the loan shark from 25 years earlier is an object of almost perfect convenience. He is distant enough to be mythic and close enough to feel like a present threat. The cards do not create the fear, they give it a name and a story. The dangerous comfort of prophecy lies precisely in this gift of narrative. A man who has been losing the reliable use of his ears, who has been demoted from trusted driver to liability, who has been performing competence while the ground of that competence eroded, is suddenly offered a different explanation for his sense of impending harm. It is not the slow failure of the body. It is the return of an old human enemy. The second story is more dramatic, more external, and therefore more bearable. One can hide from a loan shark. One can disguise oneself. One can arm oneself with imaginary machine guns and secret knocks. One cannot similarly arm oneself against the quiet disappearance of high-frequency sound. Catherine's cards, by producing the name Brownie, allow Schneider to relocate his terror from the medical to the criminal. The relocation is temporary and costly, but while it lasts, it restores a sense of agency. He is not a man to whom something is happening. He is a man against whom someone is acting. Catherine's own investment in the cards grows with every apparent success. When Schneider reacts with genuine panic to the name Brownie, she is no longer a woman with a mildly ridiculous hobby. She is a woman whose gift has been confirmed. The confirmation is intoxicating. I have watched the same intoxication take hold in people who discovered that their particular system of meaning appeared to work. The system might be astrology or a particular reading of scripture, or the interpretation of dreams or the statistical patterns of a favorite gambling game. Once the system produces a single startling correspondence with reality, the desire to keep using it becomes almost irresistible. Catherine's insistence that she sees what she sees, that the cards do not lie, that she has no control over the information, is the classic defense of the newly empowered prophet. The defense protects both the gift and the giver from the possibility that the gift is ordinary coincidence dressed in ritual. The family's response to the escalating readings is a mixture of concern for Schneider and exasperation with Catherine. Anne tries to walk the line between protecting her mother from humiliation and protecting Schneider from further panic. Barbara oscillates between skepticism and a younger person's willingness to let the strange thing continue because the strange thing is at least interesting. Schneider himself moves through stages that will be familiar to anyone who has watched a person seize on an external explanation for internal distress: initial shock, then a kind of relieved horror, then the active construction of a new reality in which the old debt and the old threat are once again the central facts of life. The construction requires the cards to keep speaking. Catherine, pleased to be necessary in a new way, continues to turn them. There is a particular cruelty in the way prophecy can colonize a household. Ordinary conversation begins to root around the system. People start to watch what they say in front of the reader. Jokes become careful. The future becomes a contested zone rather than a shared uncertainty. Catherine's cards do not merely describe possible futures. They begin to organize the emotional present. Schneider's decision to barricade himself, to invent disguises, to treat every knock on the door as a potential visit from Brownie's people, is the logical extension of the narrative the cards have authorized. The narrative is false in its particulars and true in its emotional structure. He does feel hunted. He does feel that something from the past has found him. The cards have simply supplied a cast of characters for a drama that was already underway inside his body and his social position. I think of the physical deck itself, the way the cards must have looked in Catherine's hands, the slightly worn edges, the images that had been given meanings by Countess Zelda and were now being given new meanings by the needs of the people in the room. A deck of tarot cards is an ordinary object until it is asked to carry extraordinary weight. Once it has carried that weight successfully, even once it is no longer ordinary, it becomes a site of power. Catherine's power in these scenes is real even if the metaphysical claims are not. She has become the person who can make Schneider react, who can make Anne worry, who can make the entire household rearrange its attention around her pronouncements. For a woman who has been feeling the slow erosion of her central role, the new power is a form of late-life vitality. The composite does not mock the vitality, it simply shows the cost of its exercise. The most painful moments occur when the family tries to walk the prophecy back. They ask Catherine to tell Schneider that the cards were wrong, that the deck was defective, that nothing she said counts. The request places her in an impossible position. To retract is to lose the new self she has built. To refuse to retract is to leave Schneider inside a terror that is feeding on itself. Her compromise, the second reading that produces a spotted puppy instead of a brown dog, followed almost immediately by the death card, is the kind of partial retreat that satisfies no one. The death card is the purest expression of the danger. Once a system of prophecy has been authorized, it cannot be counted on to produce only comforting information. It will eventually produce the information that no one wants. Catherine's horror at the death card is genuine. So is her inability to stop the machinery she has started. I have been in rooms where a similar machinery was running. The particular system varied, the emotional structure did not. Someone had found a way of knowing that appeared to cut through ordinary confusion. The rest of the family had to decide whether to humor the method, confront it, or organize their lives around its pronouncements. Humor was the most common choice and the least sustainable. Confrontation risked the relationship. Organization around the pronouncements risked everyone's grip on shared reality. The composite stages all three responses without pretending that any of them is clean. Catherine will not fully relinquish the cards. Schneider will not fully relinquish the story the cards have given him. The rest of the family will continue to live in the space between belief and damage control. The dangerous comfort of prophecy is finally the comfort of displaced agency. Catherine gains a form of power she has been missing. Schneider gains an enemy he can in fantasy fight. The rest of the household gains a temporary explanation for behavior that would otherwise have to be understood as the ordinary and irreversible work of aging and fear. Everyone receives something. The bill for what they receive arrives in the form of a man barricaded in his apartment with imaginary weapons. A grandmother who cannot stop seeing doom in the next turn of the deck, and a family that must now manage both the original problems and the secondary problems created by the solution. The cards remain on the table. The neon of the earlier Las Vegas material feels in retrospect almost simple by comparison. There, the risks were visible and human. Here the risk is the human hunger for a story that will make the visible risks feel less lonely. When I return to Catherine's readings, I am returned as well to every moment in which I or someone I loved reached for a system that promised to make the future speak in a clearer voice than the present. The systems never kept their promises for long. The comfort they offered was real while it lasted. The danger was that the comfort made the ordinary work of living with uncertainty look like a kind of failure. Catherine's cards are still on the table in the apartment. Schneider is still listening for knocks that may or may not come. The family is still trying to decide how much of the new story to believe and how much to contain. The prophecy continues to do its work, which is not primarily to predict the future. Its work is to organize the fear of the present into a shape that can be spoken aloud. That shape is Brownie. That shape is the death card. That shape is the spotted puppy that fails to cancel the previous image. The comfort is real. The danger is real. The composite, with the strange mercy of comedy that has decided not to look away, lets both things occupy the same rooms at the same time. I have watched the past arrive in living rooms with the force of a physical blow, and I have never seen it arrive cleanly. It comes through a name spoken in the wrong tone, through a detail that should have remained buried, through the sudden rearrangement of a man's face when he realizes that the story he has been telling himself about safety has just been revoked. In the composite, the name is Brownie. Catherine turns the card, speaks the word, and Schneider's body responds as if a long-dormant alarm has been triggered in the deepest part of the building. The alarm has been waiting 25 years. It has been waiting since a fixed horse race, a $500 loan, a threat from a man with no neck, and a decision to join the Navy rather than remain visible to the people who collected on such debts. The intervening decades of apartment building life of jokes told in doorways of competence performed for the Romano family collapse into a single instant of recognition. Brownie is not a dog. Brownie is a hood. Brownie is the mob. Brownie is still looking. The speed with which Schneider constructs a complete emergency around the name is the first measure of how much fear he has been carrying. He does not pause to consider coincidence. He does not ask Catherine how a supermarket psychic from Pittsburgh could know the name of a loan shark from a quarter-century earlier. He simply accepts the information as confirmation of what the body has already been whispering through the failing ears and the near miss with the ambulance and the quiet removal of Alex from his car. Something has been coming for him. The cards have finally given the something a face and a ledger. The $500 has become $25,000 through the long arithmetic of Vigorish. The debt is no longer a story about a young man's mistake. It is a present-tense claim on the life he has built in the years since he ran. I think of the particular quality of fear that attaches to old debts. It is different from the fear of new catastrophe. New catastrophe has the clean edge of the unknown. Old debt carries the full archive of the self who incurred it. The younger face, the stupider hope, the exact temperature of the night the money changed hands. Schneider's younger self had believed in a fixed race. The horse had run as if it were wearing support hooves. The man who had advanced the $500 had not been interested in explanations. The Navy had been less a career choice than a geographical solution. 25 years of silence had allowed the solution to feel permanent. Catherine's cards cancel the permanence in a single spoken name. The past is not past. It has merely been patient. The living room becomes a command center for a war that only Schneider can see. He invents disguises. He practices secret knocks. He speaks of machine guns and final stands. The comedy of these preparations is obvious and necessary. Without it, the sequence would be unwatchable. Yet, the comedy does not erase the structural fact that a man who has spent years as the household's comic satellite has now relocated the entire satellite into a private orbit of threat. The family is forced to decide how to respond to a crisis that is both imaginary in its particulars and real in its effects. Schneider is not leaving his apartment. Schneider is not sleeping. Schneider is arranging his remaining days around the expectation of a knock that will not be friendly. The mob is in the living room, whether or not any actual member of it ever climbs the stairs. Anne's response is the practical compassion she has always offered the difficult people who orbit her life. She does not believe in Brownie as a present danger. She does believe in Schneider's suffering. The distinction is important and almost impossible to maintain in daily conversation. To challenge the reality of the threat is to leave him alone with it. To accept the threat at face value is to become a character in a drama that has no external verification. The family attempts a middle path that satisfies no one. They will humor the fear enough to keep Schneider from doing something irreversible, and they will try to dismantle the fear's foundation by persuading Catherine to retract the reading. The attempt to manage both Schneider and Catherine at the same time is the kind of dual-front emotional labor that Anne has performed for years. It is also the kind that eventually exhausts the performer. What the composite captures with painful accuracy is the way an old shame can colonize the present once it has been named. Schneider's debt is not only financial. It is the evidence of a younger self who was reckless, who trusted a fixed race, who ran rather than face the consequences. The years of doorway jokes and performed competence have been, among other things, a way of outrunning that evidence. Brownie's return collapses the distance. The man in the apartment is once again the young man who could not pay and who chose the Navy over the broken knees or whatever equivalent the collectors of that era preferred. The Navy is long over. The apartment building is not a ship. There is nowhere left to sail. I have sat with people while similar old shames returned. The triggering detail varied: a name in a newspaper, a voice on a telephone, a photograph that should have remained in a box, but the structure was constant. The carefully maintained present developed a sudden hole, and through the hole came the self who had never been fully left behind. The people around the affected person were left to manage a crisis that had no clear medical or legal solution. You cannot arrest a memory. You cannot medicate a ledger that exists primarily in the mind. You can only keep the person company while the memory and the ledger do their work and hope that the company is enough to prevent the more permanent forms of escape. Schneider's barricade is the visible form of a more complete internal retreat. He has already been losing the reliable use of his ears. He has already been demoted from trusted driver. He has already been performing competence while the ground of that competence eroded. The Brownie crisis gathers all of those losses into a single coherent narrative of pursuit. In this narrative, he is not a man whose body is failing and whose social role is shrinking. He is a man who once made a mistake and is now being called to account by forces large enough to justify any amount of fear. The narrative is more dramatic than the medical reality and therefore more sustainable for a personality organized around performance. A hearing aid is an admission of decline. A loan shark is an adversary. Schneider has always known how to play opposite an adversary. He has never known how to play opposite his own slow disappearance from the shared sonic world. The family's attempts to walk the crisis back produce some of the most complicated emotional traffic in the composite. They ask Catherine to say she was wrong. They invent technical explanations involving defective decks. They try to replace the brown dog with a spotted puppy. Each attempt is a form of care and a form of violence against Catherine's new sense of usefulness. She has finally found a way to be necessary that does not depend on cooking or childcare or the residual authority of grandmotherhood. The cards have given her power. To retract the reading is to relinquish the power. Her resistance is not only stubbornness. It is the refusal to return to a smaller version of herself. The conflict between protecting Schneider from the prophecy and protecting Catherine from the loss of her gift is a conflict without a clean solution. The composite does not pretend otherwise. There is a moment when Schneider calculates the current size of the debt and arrives at $25,000. The number is both absurd and precise. It represents the long mathematical shadow of a single bad decision. $500 at the informal interest rates of a man like Brownie sustained across 25 years becomes a sum that no building superintendent can imagine paying. The impossibility of the sum is part of its power. If the debt cannot be paid, then the only remaining options are continued flight or final confrontation. Schneider's preparations for confrontation, the disguises, the imaginary arsenal, the secret protocols are the actions of a man who has decided that flight is no longer viable. The apartment is his last stand. The fact that the enemy may not exist in any form that can climb stairs does not reduce the intensity of the stand. The intensity is the point. It organizes the fear into something that looks like purpose. I return often to the image of Schneider alone in his apartment listening for knocks. The hearing that has been failing him is now the sense he most needs to trust. Every sound is potential information. Every silence is potential ambush. The irony is almost too neat for the series and yet it feels earned. The man who could not hear the tea kettle is now straining to hear the footstep on the stair. The man who missed the ambulance siren is now inventing an entire auditory landscape of threat. Denial of one order of loss has produced hypervigilance of another. The two states are not opposites, they are partners. Together they keep Schneider from having to sit quietly with the simpler and more devastating fact that his body and his role are changing in ways that no old enemy can be blamed for. The mob in the living room is finally the family itself, forced to occupy a drama they did not choose and cannot direct. They move through Schneider's apartment with the careful steps of people who do not want to startle a man already living at the edge of startle. They bring food. They attempt conversation. They try to interest him in the ordinary world that continues to exist beyond his barricade. The ordinary world is not interested in Brownie. The ordinary world is interested in the next episode of the building's minor crises, in the next family argument about the wedding, in the next small negotiation of love and irritation that has always constituted daily life in the Goes Romano Arbit. Schneider's inability to re-enter that world is the measure of how completely the old debt has colonized the present. He is living inside a story that the rest of the family can visit but cannot inhabit. 25 years is a long time to carry an unpaid ledger. It is long enough for the original sum to become mythical. It is long enough for the original self to become a stranger. It is long enough for the silence to begin to feel like safety. Catherine's cards cancel the silence. Brownie returns not as a man who can be located and negotiated with, but as the embodiment of every unfinished consequence. Schneider has been out running since the night the horse failed to run as promised. The living room holds the family and the fear and the impossible arithmetic of the debt. Outside the building, the city continues its indifferent work. Inside, a man who has spent decades making himself necessary is discovering what it costs to have been visible all along. The cost is a name spoken from a deck of cards. The cost is the sudden knowledge that the past does not require permission to collect what it is owed. The cost is the long night of listening for a knock that may never come, and the longer knowledge that some knocks do not need to be literal in order to change the shape of a life.